What up, what up, what up? A2HH Live. We are in the building on a Wednesday. Shout out to everybody in the room. Sorry for the delay. Had to do some little, changing a couple things around with the Wi-Fi settings, yada yada. Whatever. Coop, how you doing this Wednesday?
I'm doing well. We're part of a hip hop and sports group on Facebook, Mike, and
Yep.
unfortunately, one of the members of our group has passed away suddenly. So
Whoa, who? I didn't hear
Rick
about that.
Cotton,
Huh?
yeah, Rick Cotton. Rick Cotton passed away last night from our thread, and I know
Oh
most of the
man.
people in our group actually follow us and watch the show. So I just wanted to say rest in peace and rest in
Yes.
prayers and rest in heaven, Rick. Never got to meet him, but always loved his commentaries on the thread.
Damn.
Last I checked this morning, some of the people on the thread were trying to put together a little GoFundMe campaign to help the family out any way that they can.
Right.
So, I'm going to go back in and check the thread, and you should do the same so we can work out helping donate
For sure.
uh, to his family.
For sure. For sure.
Unfortunate passing. God bless, God rest.
Did they give any information on it or
They were
just
working it out this morning when I
okay?
last checked, and then I had to actually get my day started. And you know how my days roll. I just walked in this house 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, man, it's been a busy day overall, man. It's a lot going on in hip hop. Period. I know one of the things we wanted to address was this Outcast thing. I don't know if we're gonna jump right into it or if we have some sports talk that we can get into,
Mm.
beforehand. But
Well, I mean, it is NFL season, Mike. So there's always plenty of things to talk about sports during NFL season.
I mean, what exactly do I mean? Where do we start? I mean, it's so much going on in NFL.
Cowboys look legit. I think the game of the year is going to be when the Cowboys go to Frisco and play the 49ers. I think that's
49ers
game.
are legit.
49ers are that deal because you got to pick your poison. Like, think about it. Like, George Kittle has become like their fourth option. That's wild.
That is wild. What do you think about the Falcons running back?
I think he's already a top 10 running back,
Falcons are 2-0.
surprisingly.
What do
But
you
the whole
think about
division is 2 and
Ritter?
0 except for the Panthers. But the Panthers wouldn't be 0 and 2 had they kept Steve Wilkes like they were supposed to,
Mm.
instead of making this buster ass move that they just made. But whatever.
Yeah, I think we spent Monday's show kind of talking about the Colorado State game as opposed to any NFL stuff. But yeah, the NFL is really moving. It's hard to really tell what's going on. I would say 2 games in, but things get really really interesting. By game 5, game 6.
Miami's legit if Tua stays healthy, Mike.
Of course, I mean, but that's a big if because Tua's man, the
It
concussions and
is.
stuff that he had last year. Those are serious things.
I'm
Yeah.
still picking Baltimore because Baltimore's division looks very, very hampered with Cleveland you losing Nick Chubb and Joe Burrow look like he playing on one leg out here. So I
Mm.
think if Lamar stays upright and just continues to grow with this group, I know they lost Dobbins for the year, but they have enough hitters. I think it's just a team that's going to gel. I just think Lamar is that type of player. I think my biggest note after the first 2 weeks of the NFL season is actually, Mike, look at the Washington Redskins offense with Eric Bieniemy
Hmm.
as its offensive coordinator because Sam Howell is their quarterback. And they're scoring more points than the Kansas City Chiefs, who has the genius, quote unquote, in Andy Reid and the guy who's supposed to give Tom Brady some goat run and Patrick Mahomes. And they can't get 21, but Washington up here putting up 30. So the fact that this black man wasn't given a head coaching job is just becoming more glaring and
Yeah.
glaring. And so is the racism of the NFL. Keep going, Mike.
So you still got the Baltimore Ravens going all the way.
Yeah, Mike, because I think when I look at the NFC between San Francisco and Dallas and Philly, if one of those teams are all those teams better than Baltimore, yes. Only one of those teams is going to have to play Baltimore, and the other two are probably going to beat the hell up on each other and take their pound of flesh, and we'll just see what happens. And I'll take the best player on the field in a big game, even in the NFL. And yeah, whoever's coming out of the NFC, Lamar Jackson will still be the best player on the field in the Super Bowl. And so I'm going to run with that.
Hold on, I think we got a super chat in. I had a one of our people that's normally in the group. Speaking of the people that are in the group, Shout out to
Unless
CJ
Dallas
Kidd.
makes it, Micah Parsons, you could argue if he continues to play like this, will be the best player in the NFL this year.
Hold on 1 second, Coop. I'm trying to get these. All right, there we go. I think we got CJ Kidd in here with the super chat. He says, "Hey fellas, just got in. Are we gonna be going classic style for now? Cause the studio is down. I like these vintage lives either way. No, we're gonna be back in the studio. Don't worry about that. Yeah, this week we just had a really crazy, hectic week. Actually, man, what was I gonna say? Oh, one of our followers, Firebird Phoenix, whatnot. Shout out to him. I know he's probably in the room. We did an article on him on according to hiphop.com. He got a dope album out right now, and he has an interesting story, man. I actually spoke with him offline, and he was saying that basically he was in a group back in the day, right? And then he's living his regular life, got his career, all that going on. And he's like, you know what? I still want to do the music. And he went out there and was like, I'm going to make an album, doing it for the love. He actually paired up with a younger artist as well, similar to the Nas and Hit Boy thing. And he released this album called Half a Hundred. Hard. So, if you're on according to hiphop.com, you got to check that out. And also, on any of the streaming platforms, Firebird Phoenix, Half a Hundred. Is it half? Oh, yeah, Half a Hundred. So, yeah. Half a Hundred, he's out there in VA spitting. And you know what? When I heard it, I was like, yo, this is dope. Because it was one of those people, again, who normally chimes into the chat. And he sent over the music. Fire. So check that out. I think we got a couple more super chats in here, too. My mere thoughts with the super chat says, somebody please get at Still Here. Get Still Here out of the chat. He's seriously being problematic. Coop voice. I didn't even see what he's doing. Yeah, Firebird Phoenix is actually in the building right now. But yeah, he got some fire, man. And his story kind of reminded me of our story, where it was like, you still love the music. And he went out there and made a full effort. And it was his first time going solo because he was in a group. And he actually brought up some of the things that Busta Rhymes said about being in a group and the difference between that and being solo and how difficult that is. And it's, tapping into a whole nother chamber. And that's real. I don't think we talk about that enough in hip-hop. I know when we talk about that, it feels like we're browbeating on an individual MC, but it is a different gene that it takes to be a solo MC in hip-hop specifically.
I keep telling you, Mike, certain MCs be pulling solo missions.
Yeah.
Rakim is a soloist, Mike.
Yeah, man. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal what Tretch did on OPP.
Mike, get out my head. I played OPP the other day, like literally the other day. And I said to myself, this is one of the best Mike performances ever. Nobody talks about. It's very much akin to like Ain't No Half Stepping by Kane, where it's like the song is big and it's a hit, but the dude is just going wild on the record.
Wild on the record. By himself, going for Dolo. And there's no disrespect to anybody that's in a group. I love groups. I think that, in my personal opinion, groups make the best music because you're getting so many minds coming together to make one piece. But when it comes to just being on the mic, it's something special about somebody who can go in there and keep your attention for 3 verses, as opposed to somebody who can flash for a verse and then somebody else comes in. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you're talking. I mean, you talk about it all the time on this show. Flashes. It's so much easier for somebody in a group setting to flash and stand out. Mm-hmm. You can stand out because your style's different than everybody else in the group. You can stand out because you have a better voice than everybody in the group. But when it's 3 verses of just you have to stand out standing next to yourself, and that's different.
You got to stand up to the last thing you just spit, too.
Yep, you do. Like that second verse has to stand up to that first verse. Mm-hmm. And the third verse has to stand up to both of those verses.
So that's one of those things where something like an Illmatic is really special, Mike, because like that and Paid in Full are probably the only top 10, 20 rap albums that are like real solo missions, Mike.
That's real. Because, again, like I said, groups make the best albums. So everything else is pretty much group efforts.
Well, let's think about our favorite albums outside of Paid in Full and Illmatic. like that are the greatest albums. It's like, well, It Takes a Nation of Millions.
Yeah.
You know, Only Built for Cuban Links, Mike. You talk about the cohesive effort of the Clan, and then the Nas verse, like to finish it off, the Method Man hook on Ice Cream. It's like, no, it's
Chronic.
like part
Doggy
of
style.
what makes the Purple Tape special is all the guest appearances bought their A+ game, Mike. They didn't bring a blade; they bought their sharpest blade that they had in the box.
Straight up. And you know, you think about the Chronic.
Doggy Style, the
Doggy
Chronic.
Style, yep.
Doggy Style and the Chronic, Mike.
Yep.
The Low End Theory.
Yep. Aquemini.
Aquemini, yes.
Even as much as I love it, and it is what it is, Supreme Clientele. That's
Get
a group
Rich or Die Trying
collective
got a
effort.
lot of features too, Mike.
What's that?
Get Rich or Die Trying got a lot of features too, Mike. Teamwork make the dream work.
It does. Now, see, I look at Get Rich or Die Trying slightly different. I feel like the features that are on there didn't have to be features, really. I think that album would still be that special without the features.
Me too.
I think
feel
the
that way
features
about
kinda
It's Dark
show
and Hell
love.
is Hot too, because It's Dark and
too.
Hell is Hot It's Dark and Hell is Hot is a solo mission outside of niggas that started something.
Yeah, Ready to Die is Dark and Hell is Hot, and Get Rich or Die Trying feel like solo missions. It feels like people are jumping into that person's chamber.
No, Ready to Die is a solo mission. It's just meth.
Yeah.
It is a solo mission.
Mad Max in the super chat says, Lamar and the Ravens start off hot and choke by the end. In the season, end of the season, them boys is not getting out of the AFC, and they don't want to see my Cowboys. Oh, we got a Cowboys fan here.
How old is the Cowboys fan? The Cowboys fan was probably like one the last time they were like in the NFC Championship game. So
I don't think Mad Max was even born the last time they did something.
It's miserable life. Was that Mad Max talking?
Yeah.
Miserable.
Firebird Phoenix with the super chat. He says, Mike and Coop, respect. Yes, sir, man. Yeah, go check out Firebird Phoenix's album, man. Like, and check out the whole article on accordingtohiphop.com. It's on the front page. Also, Coop's review on Magic 3. We're going to get into some of that, too, man, because I did like a mic check yesterday, actually, kind of just going through that Hip Hop DX review. And some people felt like that the review was fair when it came to, you know, the actual number, the 3.8 out of 5. But again, it was more so the tone, the way that they choose to write. And I think a lot of people went on to Twitter and, spoke to the writer and let them know what they thought about what he wrote. But I do want to get to that point, and you and I were talking about this offline. I mean, are we overrating these efforts? And I think we can address that too. The Informal Podcast with the super chat. Shout out to you, sir, or ma'am, or collective. Says, y'all check that half 100. This classic hip hop album, VA in here. Yeah, we got VA in the building. Yeah, half 100 is hard, man. And
you want to know what?
Go ahead.
You know, you and I were having the conversation about the North Carolina rap artists.
Yes.
It's like the Virginia rap artists are so much more exciting.
They are. That's
they are.
You know what? That's a very interesting.
We're a state away, Mike, but it's like that's what I'm saying. Is it's like there? I mean, maybe it's another show topic for another day, but you're right, Mike. Our best MCs are like really like introspective, humble people, and this isn't like. That doesn't necessarily translate to superstardom.
You know who Carolina is, and I say this respectfully. Carolina's the Spurs, man. It's like fundamentally sound, but you know the flash is just not there. You know what I mean? Like Lil Brother's coming back, and that's kind of how me and Coop got on this topic offline. Lil Brother's got a new song. I think they got a new effort coming or whatnot. And I was speaking about Fonte, and I think Fonte is an incredible MC. But it's something there that kind of makes it a little bit bland. And I know y'all going to kill me for that, but I
don't know if bland is the word, but it's just like outside of the fact that he's dope, there's nothing else that excites you necessarily.
Okay. It's not like Pusha T. Those Virginia guys are exciting.
Right. Like
the Philly guys are exciting.
Yeah, they are, because it's like, and a lot of it is the talk, Mike, but it's like a lot of it is the slick. How about this? there's a slickness to the Philly VA talk that's not to North Carolina talk. It's like when Pusha T says, "If money is the evil root, let the smokers shine the coops." It's like that's not Carolina like bar work. You know what I'm saying? It's not slick like that.
Well, let me do this for devil's advocate because obviously I think that I think J. Cole's probably the biggest MC to ever come out of Carolina, right? I think everybody can agree with that.
Easily,
Okay.
unequivocally.
Okay. Is what he did on Johnny P's Caddy exciting?
There, see, on some on a rap level, Mike, yes, because it's like, oh man, it's like when you watch your favorite player get hot and it's like they can't miss and it doesn't matter who's guarding them or what's going on. It's like splash, splash, splash. It's like, so yeah, is it exciting? It is exciting. It's exciting in the way that if you're a Nas fan, Verbal Intercourse is exciting. If you're a Raekwon fan, the way Incarcerated Scarface is exciting. If you're a Andre 3000 fan, it's like the way Babylon and Aquemini is exciting. So yes, it is that.
Is it the beat selection? Because I just heard Joey Badass on a Rome Streets record, and it felt different to me because the production is in that Rome Streets vein, and Rome Streets to me is exciting.
I'm not as excited about Rome Streets as you are, but I really like Rome. I really get down with him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if he has a project, I'm definitely checking for it. I think you're the bigger fan of the two of us. I think there is something about, I think there's something about the era that Joey and Cole and Kendrick and all these guys come from where it's like, it's almost like a little too subtle at times, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? It's too subtle. It's too humble. It's not flashy enough. It's like, when I look back at it, it's like, well, no, there's nothing wrong really with making like a Hate Me Now, a Can I Get a, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, like, make that shit, switch it up. You know what I'm saying?
We say a lot about, Puff and sometimes Jay when he gets on his jiggy shit, but I will say this, like, when those guys were doing what they were doing in 97 and 98, like, they changed my perspective on a lot of things. Like, they showed me things that I didn't know were possible through that flossing.
How about this, Mike?
Flexing.
All the Mace records still go, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Mace.
Feel So Good. Looking at Me. Tell Me.
Yeah.
24 Hours to Live. Been Around the World. Can't Nobody Hold Me. No, all the records still alive, Mike.
I love Can't Nobody Hold Me Down to this day. Mad Max of the Super Chat
I'm more Been Around the World.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
I like the remix better than the regular one.
You know, that used to be my nickname in the airport when I worked in the airport.
Been Around the World?
Yeah.
What a nickname. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, I'll let you live on Monday, but you overrated this run for Fat Coop. Coop was up here using critiques I said about KD3 to boost Magic 3. And I said nothing, but yeah. Okay, we're going to get into that.
Who's that talking? Who's that talking,
That's
Mike?
Mad Max.
Oh, ain't nobody. That's why it's kind of funny how I keep on missing it when it's Mad Max. It must be not that important. Okay.
Black Wealth and Power says, love the show. How do I find your Patreon? Well, welcome to the show, Black Wealth and Power. We had a Patreon. We kind of put it on pause because, wasn't a lot of interaction going on with it. But, if people commit themselves to saying they're going to rock with the Patreon, we could, revamp it. It could happen. Michael Williams of the Super Chat says, what would you say to someone who says the black empowerment and anti-violence message on KD3 gives it an edge over Magic 3? That's the X factor, in my opinion. That is the approach of KD3. I know we said that in our review when it drops. Do you think that level of strength and I guess that undertone would give it an edge over Magic 3?
I think I find that to be very insightful. And if you wanted to use that as something that gives it the edge, the rhetoric, giving it the edge, then yeah, I can see that.
I'm not mad at that either. I see what you're saying too when it comes to Magic 3. Nas is actually being Nas on there. And when I say that, tapping into his storytelling that he is number one at.
Nas the artist.
Yes.
Like the artist.
Yeah.
Like, how about this? Like, KD3 might be more of who the person is, but I feel like Magic 3 is more of who the artist is.
I could see that. I could see both of those albums kind of going tit for tat depending on which chamber you like. Shout out to Leroy Green. He said, what up, what up?
But how about this? I'll tell you this. The songs on KD3 are bigger. That's for sure. I'm not telling you that they're not. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. How far behind, if you got Magic 3 over KD3, how far behind do you have it?
Like not by much, Mike. It's like we're literally splitting hairs about the first song and the last song. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's comparable. I didn't say it like there was a separation between the work. Like I'm saying, I said this when we were doing the review. I was like, well, the beginning of this album and the end of this album is better than KD3, and it's comparable all the way through in the middle. So advantage. But I didn't say it was like it's not like the first ranked player playing like the 21st ranked player. It's like one going versus two, and it's just like, yeah.
Well, we're going to pick the best from each series and actually put together and make an album out of it. So thumbs up in the chat so we can get some more people in here. We want to kind of get the voting system going just like we did last time. Based on the people, y'all actually ranked Magic 3 as the best album in the series, and then went KD3. Then it went to Magic 1. Then it was KD2. Then it was KD1. And then it was Magic 2. So that's how you guys had it ranked.
Yeah, so can we make sure that Mad Max can't vote? Like, we need to make sure people who don't have valid opinions have their vote stricken from them. So we need to take Mad Max's votes away.
No, Mad Max.
Can we block him temporarily, Mike?
No, we're not gonna do that to Mad Max. Yo,
I would.
before we get in this, I want to do man. I had a. Have you ever had a lobster? What is it? Lobster crab grilled cheese sandwich?
Unfortunately, I'm allergic to shellfish and have been since I was about 12.
Really?
So I can't eat, I can eat mussels and clams and oysters, but I can't eat shrimp, lobster, crawfish. I can eat bivalves. If it has 2 shells, I can eat it. So oysters, clams, mussels.
How did you discover that? You were younger and you ate that and then it just didn't agree with you?
So when my mother used to work for Georgia Power, they had this big event, and she bought some cocktail shrimp home one day. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, I grew up in a fucking Red Lobster. Matter of fact, my mom is upstairs. Right now, she could co-sign this story. She bought some shrimp home from Georgia Power,
right?
And it was cocktail shrimp. And I did what I usually do with shrimp. I devoured it, at a carnivore's rate, even though it's a crustacean, and I was outside, I think, teaching my sister how to ride her bike, and I felt really sick, and I came back inside, and I threw up, violently, and I thought it was, strange, and then, of course, I had just thrown up all the food I had ate, so I was hungry again after, everything had settled down, and I tried to eat some more shrimp, Mike.
Well, you liked the taste of it, it just didn't agree with you.
I still crave shrimp.
Yeah.
It's very problematic. You want to talk about something being very problematic, something that can kill you, still actually having a craving for it because you're actually able to digest it at some point in your life.
Well, Dana made a lobster crab grilled cheese sandwich today for lunch.
Oh, so now you want to rub it in?
I'm still full from, and to rub it in even more, Dana has an IG and a YouTube channel now, so people can go out there and follow that, the Working House Mom, where you have all of those incredible dishes and all kind of home decor.
Can she hook a brother up with a chopped brisket and cheddar cheese?
She do it all, man. Yeah, she does.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something. I'll take She can hit a brother up with some oyster po' boy status. You know what I'm saying? I can eat that.
I try to be the camera guy, man. My camera angles and all that sucks. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of Like, okay, yeah, those angles and all that stuff looks
No,
right,
you
but
definitely need to stick to the podcast. Stay away from the photography, Mike. No.
right. But yeah, the Working House Mom page is definitely growing. She got some good
If
stuff on
if
there.
if she needs a photographer, I can plug her to my guy Scott Dennis.
Okay.
Scott did my photo shoot for the Voyage ATL thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I met Scott when I
Yeah,
dropped the shirt
Scott.
off too. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Scott will do Dana stuff. Yeah, let's
Esquire with
get
the
it
super
popping.
Esquire with the super chat says the paradox of Wayne's greatness is on display on Magic 3. He drops witty, entertaining verses in his sleep, but his verses slash songs often lack direction. You know what? I've always said that about Wayne, but what I've learned to grow, I'm not learned to grow, what I've grown to learn from analyzing Wayne and his place in hip hop, that's the actual, that's what he stands on, right? Being able to do what he did on Magic 3. That's what people
Okay.
love him for. People don't love him for, hitting them with crazy subject matter. It's kind of like Busta Rhymes, Redman. Who's another person that's kind of like that? But that's kind of their thing. And that's where we want to hear Wayne, right? I mean, would you rather hear Wayne spazzing out on the record, just throwing words together, or would you rather hear him, making a deep record about global warming or whatever?
You want to know what? Okay, so here's the thing. Like Wayne, flow wise,
Mm-hmm.
is like Jay Z, Biggie, Method Man level, Andre level. You know what I'm saying? Flow wise. Okay, like he's all time great. His flow is.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, of all his flows, that's his best flow. That's what I'm saying. So it's like we need to understand the nuances of what went on with the record if we're actually going to applaud him for the record. It's like, oh no, he has a multitude of flows, Mike. That's his best flow, his seesaw flow, the one where he goes back and forth.
Do
And
you
here's the
think, based on what we're hearing from Wayne now in these features, because I think this feature run is probably his second best feature run that I can think of off top. Do we
yes.
really need a new album from Wayne now? Because there's some talks that there's going to be a mixtape that's entitled like Before the Carter 6 or something. Something that's getting people prepared for the next Carter. Do we need that type of output from Wayne now? Because it sounds like we may. And will people appreciate it if we got it?
Well, if it's at the quality that these Nas and Hit Boy projects have been, Mike, we're going to be covering it with the same intensity because
Yeah.
it's like Wayne's a legend just like Nas is. And he deserves, like, his flowers and his recognition for his contributions to the game.
We need
So
our
if
superstars to
he's
step
putting out
up.
material, so if it's putting out material and material's fire, we definitely need to be talking about it because it's Wayne. But just back to the record right quick, the thing that he also does second best, Mike, is he's a great punchline rapper.
He is. He really is.
So he has one of the best flows, and he's one of the best punchline rappers ever. Mike, he showed up. That's what I'm telling people. It's like, no, he showed up with his A game. He showed up with his A plus flow. He showed up with his A plus punchlines. It's like, well, here's the thing. The things that Nas is notable for, I guess lately it would be the flow, but more often it's about the lyrics, content, and subject matter. With Wayne, it's about the flow and delivery. It's like, that's why it's like, well, they both did what they traditionally you would like them to do on a record together. Like that's why I enjoy the record so much is that I didn't hear the other artist trying to outdo the other artist. I heard the artist doing what they do well on the record together and tying it in. And that's when I want to hear pairings from two quote unquote icons like that.
I had a revelation that I want to share after I get through these super chats. Matt Max of the super chat says, Magic 3 sequencing is terrible. And my point's better than yours, Coop. I ain't, I ain't forgot you told me the KD3 was better than Stillmatic. And the Patreon said you was wrong. And you told me that KD3 was a top 50 hip hop album. LOL. Esquire with the super chat says he might be the most entertaining MC ever of those who are qualified as lyricists. And he would be less polarizing if his structure was more focused. I agree. I think if he was more focused structurally, it takes away a lot from what we love from Wayne.
I'm about to say, see, that's the thing, though. We love to hear Wayne riff.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the great MCs, he's the one that you want to hear riff the most. Like, talk about nothing.
Exactly.
Just like rhyme.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Him and Buster for me. Like I don't like when Buster gets on some subject matter stuff. I know it sounds
I
bad
mean,
to say that,
I
but you know.
no, no, no. I hear what you're saying, but Busta, because of the era that he comes from, is a more structured, formulaic songwriter than Wayne is.
Yeah, he
You know what
is.
I'm saying?
Hit you with
Yeah,
another language. So what you saying, yo? Silly with the ice, grilly with the dilly, yo. Whenever
yeah.
you on the mic, it's Anuba. Even though he's not really taking you anywhere, he's still taking you somewhere with song structure. Where
Like, how
it's like
about this?
Wayne
It's
is
like
just spazzing.
Wayne. It's easier for Busta Rhymes to do a record with a Janet or a Mariah than it is for Wayne,
That's
because
real.
Janet and Mariah know like focus and structure and like format and music. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so Buster can do that easier than Wayne can. You go to Wayne for the riff almost, you know?
Mad Max of the super chat says, and that Wayne verse was whack. Bunch of raps with words. He was like, it's like the worst part of meth and ghost punchlines. No substance and rambling. Yeah, Mad Max, I think you're off on this one. I think you're kind of off.
See what happens when you talk too much?
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mad Max may not get to vote on this, but his statement is particularly correct. He says KD3 could be a top 50 all-time album contender and is stronger than Magic 3. Okay. I think we need to really explore that some more too, because everybody's really saying, well, not everybody's saying that, but a lot of people are saying that. That's the fight. Even though you lost that fight in the last show that we did, because more people voted for Magic 3 and we had like 300 votes. But it was close.
You've also had time to sit on KD3 for like, you know, what is it? I mean, it came out November 11th of last year,
Yeah,
Mike.
nearly a year.
Yeah, so you've had 10 months of KD3 to like really like enjoy it. And so like let's see how that conversation holds up.
That's
what I mean. It's like I was playing KD3 today, and I was playing Magic 3 today, and I'm like, nah, I meant what I said.
You feel like the timeless themes are gonna carry.
Right.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, what's the better closeout? What this all really means, Slow It Down, and Pistols on Your album cover, or Japanese Soul Bar, Speechless 2, and 1-800-9. It's tough.
That's what I'm saying.
Because Magic 2 gets really slept on.
How about this? This is what I mean. Let's say that we're not overrating these projects. And both of these projects are potential top 50 hip hop albums all time. That's been the point that I've been trying to make anyway. It's like we can debate and argue about like which one is better, like to like ad nauseum. But like, do you understand that we're not supposed to be having this conversation because he's 50? And that doesn't happen in rap. That doesn't happen in music. That's been really my whole point this whole time anyway. And so while I don't mind like the album talk from album to album, if you feel like KD3 is really better at the end of the day, like that's fine. You know, like here's what I'm saying. Like I'm more likely to listen to some of the songs on Magic 2, Mike, than I am some of the songs on KD3. Because here's the thing, like Slow It Down and Pistols and Motion, well, that's better than 30 in my opinion. But I know KD3 is better than Magic 2. And so it's like, even though some of the songs, like how about this? KD3 is one of those albums that's greatness lies in the fact that you can separate the songs from the album and the songs are still great by themselves. Like Legit's great by itself. Thun's great by itself. Mike and Quincy, great by itself. 30's great by itself.
Yeah.
Album.
I see what you're saying. We're going to get into
album. As an album, I find Magic 3 to be a better album. That's why it's like when people tell me that they think It Was Written's a better album than Illmatic, I don't necessarily argue with them because they're talking about how the cohesiveness feels and how the greatness of it comes out through the duration, as opposed to just the greatness of the songs. Because much like Illmatic, KD3 is Illmatic like in that way and in that way alone, in the fact that it's like, well, the songs by themselves are great. It's like, well, no, Life's a Bitch is fine by itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
One Love stands by itself.
I don't subscribe to that whole "it was written's better than Illmatic" thing. That's just me, but I get it.
I don't either. But for the people that feel that way, I do understand why that feeling exists.
I understand why that feel. Just like how I understand why certain people put ATLians above Southern Playalistic and Aquemini.
It's a feeling. Yeah, it's your favorite rap duo on their rap shit. Of course you love it.
Exactly. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, and Ghost has substance, but he rambles and Meth has a bunch of punchlines with no substance, to clarify. But Wayne is the worst of both. Ghost doesn't ramble, man. Y'all just don't understand what Ghost is saying, man.
And neither do you, but Wayne...
I understand. I get Ghost, just like how I get Kanye. I understand. That's my Kanye plug for the day. I don't think we're going to get another one in here. Maybe. 1995 of the Super Chat says the album is great. Top 3 of Nas's albums. That's awesome that people were even saying that. Like you said, Nas is actually 50, man. So at this point, when you're putting out an album with an illustrious career like his and people are saying it's top 3 or even top 5, that's an accomplishment right there.
I think when you've made 17 solo albums and 20 albums altogether, when you're making stuff that's top 5, 10-ish, that's notable. That's what I keep bringing up about this. It's like, no, it's like artists don't make their best stuff late. Like the stuff that's in their catalog that they're notarized for, it's already notarized by the time they're his age.
No, that's facts.
That's a fact.
36 Chambers with the Super Chat says, not to switch topics, but where did y'all see a potential Outkast reunion? I was looking, but I couldn't see anything about that anywhere. Did I miss it? Big Boy posted on his Instagram, Outkast is everlasting. And he tagged the Outkast page. And he's also telling people to follow the Outkast page on Twitter and stuff too. So I think that people are thinking that something is coming. When it comes to that part of it, and I'm going to get to my revelation in a second, but since he's talking Outkast, we might as well jump into it. Do you think that we're going to get something from Outkast, even if it's Speaker Box Love Below 20th anniversary? Because that's coming up, actually.
There's that. And there's the fact that I never forgot this. I never forgot when I came down here from Charlotte in the summer of '96 when they dropped ATLians.
Right.
And Big Boy was on the radio and, like said, we recorded a little, like 30 tracks for ATLians.
Nobody has ever heard these records. You're right.
Remember when he said that? Remember when he said we recorded 30 tracks for ATLians? And I'm thinking, well, damn, that means there's about 16 records we ain't heard.
I'll say this. There's a record that I remember hearing from Speaker Box from that era. It was called Ham Sandwiches and Coupe de Villes. I don't think it made it on either E40 or Big Boy's album. But I remember hearing it around the time Speaker Box Love Below was about to come out. And I was hearing it was going to be on there. It never made it on any project. But yes, E40, Big Gip, shout out to Gip, and Big Boy. And Big Boy murdered that shit. So maybe there's some things like that out there that could be released. But you're right. They've said throughout their career that they've had songs that didn't make projects. We know that West Savannah didn't make Southern Playalistic. We ended up hearing that on Aquemini. And like you said, Big Boy said they recorded 30 records for ATLians. I think the only song I heard from those sessions that wasn't on the album was Roaches and Rats. Y'all can look that up on YouTube as well. But Cass in their catalog, man, like, it's pretty much whatever's out there, you hear whatever's out there. They have a real tight lock on the stuff that never came out. And I don't know if that's because maybe those songs either A, aren't that good, or maybe they're so incredible that they're holding on to the right time to put them out. I don't know.
There was a time where I thought that maybe that the songs weren't like that, Mike.
Yeah.
But then West Savannah did come out on Aquemini.
Exactly.
And I was like, because for me, Mike, West Savannah is one of those key records that puts Aquemini over the top.
I agree. It's an X Factor record.
It's one of those X Factor records where it's like, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
At all.
And Big Boy said that on there too. He was like, y'all players didn't think we was coming back like this.
And here's the thing about it, Mike. They always knew what they had with that record because West Savannah's what's playing on the intro of the Benzo or Beamer video.
Exactly.
So they always knew what they had with West Savannah. And so if there's stuff like West Savannah floating around, I think that's what we may get. See, it's making me excited, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm back out.
Goody Mob did that too with Keep Holding On, right? Like, because when Dre said keep on holding on like Goody Mo because there's a better day tomorrow. He said that on Benzo Beamer.
They're not about to do me.
But that's what I'm saying. So they talk about their unreleased stuff through music, but we never hear the unreleased stuff. I got something to say here too. You know that whole Pimp Trick Gangsta Click thing that was on the Kuminai skit? Speaking of the Kuminai,
Click album, that Pimp Trick Gangsta Click album.
Yep. That was supposed to be a group with CeeLo, Andre, and Sleepy Brown. And I hear they recorded a few songs for that project and just stopped. So those songs exist too, allegedly.
They're not gonna do me, Mike. I'm just, there's no new material. I'm not gonna let them do it. They almost had me. I was almost like there again, and it's like I was like, oh no. I'm like, nope, not gonna do it. Might get some unreleased stuff. Hope the unreleased stuff is great.
You know what?
Stuff will be great. They're not about to do me.
I think you and I talked about this on the show when I think it was ATLian celebrated its 25th anniversary, and we thought we were gonna get some of those unreleased songs, and we got nothing but instrumentals.
They're not about to do me, Mike. I've been
Why does Outkast do this to us, man? Like, look,
I waited for so long, Mike. I waited for so long, like the way a 5-year-old wait for Christmas. I waited for so long. No,
I'm sure there's some Dungeon Family. I'm sure there's some Dungeon Family people in the chat right now, or some people who know some people over there. I want to know, man, will we ever hear these unreleased Outkast / Goody Mob records that we know were recorded? And if not, why not? I mean, it's 2023. Outkast is celebrating, 20 years after pretty much their last album, right? They have been inactive as a group pretty much for 20 years. How long do we got to wait to actually hear some unreleased stuff if we can't get any new stuff? And I'm asking that in the most respectful way possible.
Next April will be Southern Playalistic's 30th anniversary, Mike.
Insane. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, so as an example, the songs on Volume 1 in a vacuum are better than the songs on the Blueprint, but the Blueprint is a better album?
Correct. That's exactly what I'm saying.
007.
That's exactly what I'm saying. No. Let's run that back. Yes. Mike, if I'm doing Jay-Z's top 20 songs, like for me, it's like, no, 5 or 6 songs are coming off of Volume 1. The only other album that's even getting run like that is Reasonable Doubt. Have you ever heard me say Volume 1's better than the Blueprint? Ever.
I mean, I didn't think that even need to be stated, though.
Because it don't, Mike, because making great songs and making a great album, see what you find on a great album is great songs.
What's the problem with Volume 1? Where do you think Volume 1 slipped up at?
The singles. I told you.
Yeah, you're right. I think Volume 1 slipped up at trying to be Life After Death, in my opinion. I mean, just to put it in short terms.
It's a very bad attempt.
Because what Life After Death was...
Oh, my God. Yeah. That beat, Mike, I know what Girls Like beat is just trash, Mike.
What Life After Death was able to accomplish was to give you the hit records and the street records on a balanced form. And I think that's what Jay was trying to do. But he had, I don't want to say mastered the street records, but he was much better at the street records at that point. And him trying to get into the radio records was kind of new for him. Especially holding it down on his own, because ain't no, it's got Foxy on it. And it's got the back and forth with the women on it. So it's a little different,
Sunshine, you pulled up with a baby face on the hook?
Foxy's on there too, and I don't think that's a mistake. 007
beat sounded like Mike. It was just like I was like, what is this?
Well, what they did on Sunshine is they went back and used a classic loop in the same way that he did on Ain't No Nigga. I think they kind of tried to overthink that one and tried to repeat the process. Because again, boom, you got a classic loop on there. Then you got Foxy on there. It's like, okay, well, on the hook, I don't know where the Babyface came in, but they
City is
tried
Mine
that.
is terrible, Mike. City is Mine is terrible.
No, I'm talking about Sunshine.
No, I'm talking about all three of those records. I know what girls like. Sunshine and City is Mine. Those records are awful.
I like the hook to the City is Mine. But what I didn't like about City is Mine is how the beat changes when the verses come in.
Who that singing? Beat was terrible too. All three of those beats are terrible.
I know what girls like is terrible. That's
bar work. The bar work is subpar for Jay's standards on Volume 1 because other than those three records, he is literally showing his ass on an all-time great level.
Let me get to some of these super chats real quick.
All records.
007 with the $20 super chat showing love. He says, Magic 3, KD 3, Magic 1 are classics. KD 2 is a borderline classic. Magic 2 and KD 1 are very good projects and hit on a level where they could be the best projects in other catalogs. We really nitpick, but comparing is in our behavior as a culture. That's what hip hop is. So we got battle rap, right? I think those are really astute statements, though. Shout out to 007, always checking in. He checked in on our station head and gave some great commentary while we were debuting Magic 3. KC1 with the super chat says, I agree with Coop. Arguing over albums is point. Arguing over albums is point. The fact this man has made 4 classic albums and 2 good albums at 50 is mind-blowing. Straight up. Oh, Leroy Green. Shout out to Leroy Green. People that don't think Method Man is deep, consider that his cliches have multiple meanings. He uses as setups for punchlines that complete the method. Let me say that again. He said people that don't think Method Man is deep consider that his cliches have multiple meanings. He uses as a setup for punches that complete the method. That's why he's Method Man. All right. CJ Kid with the super chat says, was Tough Guy featuring UGK ATLian's Leftover? Now, that was on the Shaft soundtrack.
Yeah.
From what I understand. LP with the super chat says, not Everlasting possibly could have been. And that's why I thought it was interesting that Big Boy said Outkast is everlasting. I know he was quoting himself on, The Way You Move, but Everlasting is one of those unreleased Outkast songs that ended up on a soundtrack. So
yeah, it's on the Nothing to Lose soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
See, here's the thing: the Nothing to Lose soundtrack isn't available anymore. So maybe something like Everlasting is getting re-released as an unreleased track because not a lot of people, unless you were a hardcore Outkast fan in that time, you probably may not have caught Everlasting.
This is what I'm gonna say about Outkast and this unreleased stuff.
That's one of my favorite Outkast records too, Mike. That beat crazy,
it's incredible. Sitting in the bathtub, listen to the Isley brothers and others outside my door want to despise me. Reminds me that everyone ain't cool. The world is jealous. Never could understand what my mama used to tell us. Don't take your food outside around your friends. Yeah. Unless you got enough to feed the neighborhood, the players just begin. Yeah, that's a great record. A lot of their non-hit records are their best records, in my opinion. I've always, not always, but recently, I've put Tribe over Cass because of Tribe's longevity and because of Tribe's remixes. I think Tribe's remixes push them over the edge over Cass. But with Cass just getting this #1 group all time on Billboard, I would love if they could release a bunch of their unreleased stuff to go ahead and further validate those type of accolades. You know what I mean? Because if those unreleased records sound like the records that we've heard that were unreleased, yeah. People need to hear these.
Let's say that those records operate at the level of their like soundtrack stuff, like In Due Time, Everlasting, Benzo or Beamer.
I don't
if
see
it
how they
operates
could.
like that, then like you're in for a real treat, and you can see why they would be the #1 rap group of all time. So it would be nice.
You remember that record that they did on? I want to say it was Light It Up soundtrack. That High Schooling. Nigga, that shit was crazy. When
is the Witch Doctor on there with him? Is that what you're talking?
No. Slim Cutter's on there. Not Slim Cutter. Yeah, Slim Cutter's on there with him. It's when Dre was like, been always told to keep my head up, but 2 shakes just don't cut the cake. When your neck's tied from bobbing, life's a stage, streets the cage, we dungeon rats, Outcast and Goody mobbing. What did he say? It was like, enough of the petite talk. I never rather have a friend. Then a nigga on my side who frontin'. Then another nigga's interpretation of God stunting. My growth. Why be a president and be a squat guy? That's like choosing which bullets you gonna get shot by. A drink and some hot fries. Slowly eating you up from inside to outside. But we gonna die anyway, right? Wrong. I plan to live forever. I know it seems mighty long if you think about it in earth terms. And he keeps going. Thank God we on the TV, but we think like earthworms. Stay underground like cheers and get dugs. But it's a dope record. Great record. They always showed out on soundtracks. So it's hard for me to believe that unreleased.
What name of the song is that?
High Schooling.
If I've heard it, I haven't heard that in forever.
Because he ended the verse like, was once the nigga in the back of the class that never said nothing. Then I became an amplifier. I live for inspiration. For without that, I would die. And the hook's crazy, too. Y'all in the chat probably know what I'm talking about. LP with the super chat says, it's going to be a greatest hits album with some Lucy's. Think that they're going to make a new album Dre ain't going to want to promote?
See, that's my thing. Like, their greatest hits ain't my favorite hits, though.
They've already done the greatest hits. And, you know, as much as I love them and I think their hits are dope, it's like you said, that's not what you want to hear as a compilation.
I mean, they did a good job on the original greatest hits stuff.
They did do a good job on it. But like you said, they're more about the full project. Outkast is an album-making group that happened to make some songs that became hits.
They are the album-making group.
Yeah. Because
when
even
they
if
made
you think,
albums.
Because even if you think about the singles on ATLians, those really weren't big singles. Those just fit in the scope of the album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And same thing with Aquemini.
Elevators became elevators on their own, on its own. It wasn't like forced or pushed upon.
I mean, like Art of Storytelling Part 1 with Slick Rick. That's a single, but it's not a big song.
Yeah. I told you,
Mike,
on the
Barbie's like, not big.
Southern Playalistic, Mike, I told you, it's like all those records are just organically big. Like Southern Playalistic, Cadillac Music, Players Ball, Get Up, Get Out.
Right.
They're naturally just like, just
massive. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, just dipped out to listen to Ham Sandwiches and Coupe de Villes on YouTube. Solid track, and I wouldn't mind getting unreleased tracks like that. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the records that I do know, and it's another one that y'all could probably check out on YouTube. I'm over here plugging unreleased Dungeon Family shit. But it was a Slim Cutter song featuring Big Boy called Why You Smiling. I remember getting the tape in Underground Atlanta around like 1999 or whatever. Chris Lover and Poon Daddy were doing the intro of that tape. But yes, Big Boy went crazy on there too. Unreleased stuff. And if their unreleased stuff sounds like that, we need that. Because I hate to sound cynical, and I love Cast, and I wish we could get a new Cast album. But if you ask me on a scale from 1 to 10, how much I think we're going to get an Outkast album, I'm probably going to be at 1. But unreleased stuff actually exists. We can get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can
You're
get
at a 1, Mike?
Yeah, it's not happening. You're at a 0. I was going to say 0, but I want to leave some hope out there. The guys are alive, and able to do it. So, but
I don't have time to play those games at this age about hoping that these niggas make an album straight up.
But as far as this unreleased shit,
yeah.
If that stuff exists, we need that. I need that to put y'all over Tribe, to be perfectly honest. But as right now, I got Tribe over Cast.
I hope they prove me wrong.
I hope they prove me wrong too.
But
I think that the unreleased stuff is way more tangible. Because I know Big Boy's ready to record. I know Big Boy's ready to go out there and spit flames. I think it's just, Andre, honestly, without pulling any punches. And that's not beating up on him. It's just being real. And I love Dre.
Time to go to the next subject. We would hate
Mad Max with the super chat says, Volume 1. Mad Max with the super chat says, Volume 1 is great. You old heads hated it. Like how you hated it was written. That's why I'm here to tell the truth.
I loved It Was Written. Everybody knows.
Web Visibility with the super chat says, Can I Get Her is what launched Hov from a commercial standpoint. He really owes Ja Rule for that, LOL. Okay, I want to go to my revelation from there, right? So I thought about it, man. thumbs up in the chat, everybody, man. We're about to get real. We're going some hip hop conversations today.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, all of that. Hit the bell icon. You know what I think separates our A-listers from the B-listers when it comes to MCing? We always go to the song, subject matters, and things like that.
Voice.
I think voice is important. But you know what I think is the most important, Coop?
Run it.
And we don't talk about it. Memorable opening lines. When you think about it, the people who are A-listers got them. They got the thinking of a master plan. They got those. But the guys who we know have great skills and we say haven't made that hit or that classic, they don't have those classic one-liners that you get over and over and over from our greats. And what made me kind of think of those things is, I know we were having a conversation about Jay paying homage to Big or whatever. And I'm like, yes, it's paying homage at some point and a lot of the points. But when you take When the Remy's in the System, Ain't No Telling Will I Diss 'Em, and use that as the opening line of your record, to me, that's somewhat cheating because that's the most important thing when it comes to a hit record. And if you're able to utilize something that has already worked before, like from the crap tables down in AC, back on the block, Jay-Z, like that's cheating a little bit, right? That's not coming up with something that's like, I ain't no joke. I used to let the mic smoke. Well, I slam it on the ground and make sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, or what Biggie was like, it was all a dream. I used to read work, like that came from him. He didn't take that from Slick Rick or something, right? And I think that those opening liners, that's what makes our A-list MCs. If we think about it, all the guys we got at the top got those. They got now let's get it all in perspective. A song, you know what I mean? Like, you got those. And I think Rakim's the king of those, honestly. I know you say Prodigy, but Rakim got those.
You know, I was thinking while you were saying that there's a war. I was saying to myself, there's a war going on outside. No man is safe from.
Like,
you
those
can run,
shits are
but you can't hide forever. I got you stuck off the rim.
Yeah.
You heard of us.
I love Fab, right?
Hey, yo,
Fab
Queens
ain't
get the
got
money,
those.
long time, no cash. I'm caught up in the hustle where the guns go blast.
Yeah.
Full retaliated, so I had to think fast.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Like, those things are important. I love people like Fab and all that. They got skill, but they don't have those things.
Rough like Timberland wear. Yeah. Me and the clan and you're the Land Cruisers out there.
Yeah. Firebird Phoenix to the super chat says, while we talking Jay, ain't no nigga that samples, the sample is another VA brother. August Moon. Shout out to August Moon. Mall 7 with the super chat says, I Know What Girls Like is Jay-Z's worst song.
It's pretty bad.
I don't know if it's his worst. I think his worst song, personally, might be the Hollywood song with Beyonce or Kingdom.
They're talking about the worst song that he made in the 90s. If worst song he made in the 90s, yes. But like 444 and Kingdom Come exist, guys. So there's no way it can be the worst song. He's made albums that is worse than that song.
You know what, listen, I don't think 444 has bad moments like that. 444 is just bland. And it's a bland album.
You're right, it's just bad. Yeah. It doesn't have bad moments because it's just bad. You can't have a bad... See, here's the thing. I Know What Girls Like is a bad moment on a really dope album.
Yeah.
444 is just bad moments, Mike.
444,
there's no
I
bad
disagree
singular bad moment to like point out. It's all bad.
I disagree with you.
None of it good.
I don't think 444 is bad. I think it's just bland. And I think that Jay is so dynamic in what he does, and we look to him for such powerful music and messages. It's just a bland album. I don't want to hear a bland album from him.
It's just not good.
Zuri with the super chat says, Sunshine is is good on its own. It's the video that ruins it.
Keep trying to tell you,
since
Mike.
it was too flashy and shiny for Jay. Was Jay trying to be Mace?
Restaurant eating sushi.
Was Jay trying to be Mace?
Doobie. Cutie, smelling like Fiyaki. Half Philippine thing. For now, let's call her Suki. No, stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, Roaches and Rats was so good. I was mad that it wasn't on the album. Yeah. I'm sure they got a lot of unreleased stuff like that. Frank Wizard with the super chat says, haven't caught a live show in a minute. Shout out to Frank. Glad you in here. He says, keep up the great coverage. Appreciate the work y'all putting in. Appreciate that, man. Make sure y'all hit our Cash App too. $ according to hip hop, so y'all can support the machine directly without YouTube's interference. I think we got some more. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat. I was about to call him Jermaine Jackson. He says, should Artist Storytelling 2 qualify as a remix? No, it's part 2.
It's part 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, actually, what they do, and I think they did this with the DJ Drama album, they had Artist Storytelling Part 4. And I'm sitting here like, okay, well, was Part 3 the remix that had Slick Rick on it?
Or is it unreleased? Oh.
Hey, listen, man. These unreleased
what if we get
songs
Storytelling
never
Part 3
gonna
on the and is this an Outkast? Well, you said Outkast is everlasting, so it would be Outkast songs.
Yeah. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, 1,000,001, Rhyme No More, Imaginary Player. Streets is talking, friend or foe, who you with, rap/crack game, where I'm from, you must love me, classic.
Yeah. No, I agree. Keep trying to tell you.
It's a strange album. Just so you can clarify for the people, where do you have Volume 1 in Jay's catalog?
For me?
Yeah.
It's 4th. After,
that's high as fuck.
Yeah, after Reasonable Doubt, the Blueprint, and the Black Album, it's Volume 1. Volume 1. I told you, Mike, there are greater songs on Volume 1 than on Volume 2 and Volume 3 combined.
But if we're talking about an album, I'm going to have to put Volume 2 over it. This is what I got over Volume 1.
You can do that delicate, happy-ass Casio keyboard twists and fucking bleak rhyming over the Primo beat. Like, no, you can take that if you want to the bank. I'm going to take the dude that's like, if I shoot you, I'm brainless. But if you shoot me, you're famous. What's a nigga to do when the streets is watching, blocks keep clocking, waiting for you to break, make your first mistake. Can't afford it. That's the fastest way to get extorted. If my time is money at 25, I can't afford it. Give me that guy.
Listen,
you take the Volume 2 guy.
I think
I'm gonna you take that Volume 2 guy. I'm gonna take the Volume 1 guy and he's gonna go.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest though, Coop. I think that his last verse on Streets is Watching could possibly be Jay-Z's best verse ever.
It's very arguable.
It's possible.
Public apologies to the families that's caught up in my shit.
That verse is crazy.
Right.
CJ Kid with the super chat says,
mind excited with crime and the lavish luxuries, it just excited my mind. I figured shit, why risk myself? I just write it in rhymes and let you feel me. And if you don't like it, then fine. The mind state, nigga who boosted the crime rate so high in one city, they sent the National Guards to get me.
Woo! Yo, he was rhyming crazy on that album.
Yeah.
The street record, and that's the funny part about Volume 1. And Dame has said this too. Thumbs up in the chat. He said that the street records actually kept the momentum of that album alive. You know what I mean? When they tried those actual hit songs, it didn't work. So they went and made The Streets is Watching, I guess, movie, DVD, or whatever. And they used those street records because they knew that was the backbone of the album. And that kept the buzz of Jay-Z up.
Mm-hmm. So, kept them alive.
Yep. CJ Kid with the super chat says, Gangsta-ish OG version was different as well. Yeah, I don't want to hear different versions of songs that we've heard. I want to hear actual unreleased songs is what I want to hear. Ill Magic with the super chat says, honestly, I'm interested in hearing more new material from Big Boy and Sleepy Brown instead of Big Boy and Andre at this point. I'm not mad at that. Me too. If they're going to make new stuff, and what I will say about Big Boy and Sleepy Brown's last effort, I think that they kept some songs that we have been hearing for years, and I wish they wouldn't have done that. I wish they would have did more of a fresh take, similar to what, Hit Boy and Nas have done, where it's like you're getting these songs that are being crafted within, let's just say, 6 months' time, and you're putting them out. I think what Sleepy Brown and Big Boy did was they actually put out an album, and a lot of those songs we had heard before, and it kind of takes away, the excitement from hearing that effort. It's not, it's not that era anymore. We're in an era now where if we hear a new album, we want to hear 99% of it that we haven't heard before. Mall 7 with the super chat says, Prodigy is the GOAT at opening lines and verses. I'm going with Rakim, but Prodigy's up there.
The saga begin war. I draw first blood, be the first to set it off. Even Rakim sampled that, Mike, him and
He
Pete
did.
Rock. Saga begins. The saga begins.
Here it
Begin
is.
war.
Groove slightly transform. Oh, never mind.
There you go.
Shout out to Rakim.
There you go with
Web
that.
Visibility with the super chat says, there's a war going on outside no man is safe from. Yeah, man,
Told you.
but that's what makes stars to me. Those memorable opening lines.
Conversate with many men. It's time to begin again. Forgot what I already knew. You hear me, friend? Illuminati with my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society. Trying to keep their eye on me.
Or what about something like when I was young, me and my mama had beefs? You know what I mean? Like those songs, those lines do it. Even
Back to catch wreck. All respect to those who break their necks to keep it in check.
Stars
Cause
do
they
that.
split a brother majorly. Now we was once two niggas of the same kind. Quick to holler at a hoochie with the same line. You was just a little smaller, but you still roll.
Yeah. Even if it's the second verse. You got out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Like, that's what makes stars. I hate to say it, but the guys that we have as non-stars don't have those type of moments. They don't. One,
Tonight I
two,
can't sleep.
3 into the
I tossed
4.
and turned.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and see, that's why I'm saying, like, Jay has those moments, but when you take those moments and you kind of, I mean, I hate to say it, use a cheat code where you're using guys' lines that we've heard before, it's almost like what Puff was doing with the samples back in the 90s where he was using big hit records that were from 10 years before, and there were records that already worked. It's kind of cheating. You know what I'm saying? But it's smart. It is what it is. But I'm not going to put that on the same level as the guys who are coming up with this off the top of their head. You know what I mean?
To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to place.
Or my favorite, first things first, eye popper, freaks, all the honeys, dummies, Playboy bunnies, those wanting money, like.
Live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, son, the livest one, representing BK to the fullest.
I think that's probably one of the most understated things about great MCs in hip hop is how important that fucking opening line is.
I like that, Mike. Your reign on the top was short like leprechaun.
Yeah, shit's important. Fake thug, no love, you get the slug. CB4, gusto, your luck though. I didn't know till I was drunk. Like, those things are important.
You're right, Mike.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, I understand why some people don't like Hit 'Em Up. Hit 'Em Up's opening line from Pac, but there ain't a hip hop fan who doesn't immediately know the following bar. That's true.
Fair. It's Pac though.
Yep. Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. Like,
I don't know, but today seems kind of odd.
no barking from the dog, no smog, and mama cooking breakfast with no heart. Like, it's important.
Yeah.
Mad Max with the super chat says, we got to stop the job put Hove on thing. We don't say that for Lauren and Nas. And Mike, you trying to tell me Hove don't got opening lines? And Fab got that.
No, Fab don't have that, because Fab don't have this. Now
Well, I
got me some Seagram's gin. Everybody got their cup, but they ain't chipped in. That is types of shit happens all the time. Mike, you got to get yours.
Before I got to get mine. Mad Max, prove me wrong.
Fine. Yeah, you don't got
Mad
that.
Max, prove me wrong. What is the Fab opening line that is to the level of the ones that we're talking about?
Creep with me as I roll through your hood. Maniac on the loose, calling Snoop Eastwood. The first time you heard him, he had great opening lines.
That's what our superstars in hip hop do. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's what really separates the stars from the guys that are really skilled, but they're B-listers, you know, to the, you know, the A guys.
So let me ask you something, because we were talking about him earlier. Where do we place Tretch in all this? Because Tretch has some great opening lines, has got classic hip-hop songs, has done some great solo missions, has hit records. Like, where would you put Tretch in the mix of that? Is Tretch an A-lister? OPP, how can I explain it? I take a frame, I frame it.
I think in a vacuum, if you're talking about somebody who's able to create a song and make one from end to end, yes. But if we talk about the ability to do it over and over and over on a solo level, I don't know if we can put him with the guys that we were just talking about. But I would say I would put him over guys like Fab in that respect. You know what I mean? Like, so I guess it's kind of a middle ground there. Raising Yoda with the super chat says, "What up, A2HH? Just wanted to check in. I'm on my way to the Nas and Wu-Tang show in Nashville. Keep up the good work." Nashville's jumping, man. Shout out to Nashville. Shout out to Raising Yoda. We got to holler at you when we're up in Nashville next time. Then we got some more super chats, too. Method Man has that, man. I came to bring the pain hardcore to the brain. Let's sit beside my astral plane. Like, I think we really understate how important those opening lines are. Mad Max for the super chat says, you can't share my air or walk in a mile in the pair I wear. I'm getting better year by year. Mike, don't make me get Leroy when it comes to Fab. I don't know if that opening line is at that level. Is that even the opening line of Breathe? No. How does Breathe even start? It's like it starts with the sample. It's like when I come through, hum through. Yeah, that's not even the opening line. Don't do that. It's not even the opening line of the record. You acting like that's something like once upon a time not long ago where people were pajamas and live life slow. No, it's not that. It's not that level, bro. It's not. I hate to tell you, Mad Max. That just ain't.
Where you be messing up, Mike, is you be respecting Mad Max's opinion. Just stop doing that.
There's a lot of people out there that think what Mad Max is saying is, I don't want to say legit, but
Mad Max
I
is up here trying to put Fab up in the upper echelon of the opening lines. When we are up here quoting Rakim and Big and Prodigy and Scarface. Ray and Snoop, and I'm sorry, the answer to that is no.
Well, I could even take it up to modern times. A millionaire, I'm a young money millionaire, tougher than Nigerian hair. Like, he don't even have that. It's time I make a song for niggas who don't know me. I graduated out the streets. I'm a real OG. Like, when you say these bars, everybody who's in the room is going to sit there and jump in on them. You know what I mean? KC1 with the super chat says, Volume 2 is the most overrated hip-hop album ever. It sounds like a Rough Riders album. That's funny.
Facts.
I've been sitting on this show defending Volume 2 for the past 3 years. I don't know if I can do it anymore. I'm tired.
It's not holding up well.
36 Chambers with a super chat says, no one remembers Fab's quotables outside of Mad Max. Okay, we got some more super chats too. I'm sure Mad Max has another quotable that we don't remember. Mall 7 with the super chat says, Ice Cube has underrated opening lines. He does. Straight out of Compton. Crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. Not to mention the other one.
Niggas with attitude.
The biggest one, fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Young nigga got it bad because I'm brown. Yeah, brown. That's what superstars do. I don't think there's a superstar, somebody that we could say that is in our top echelon of MCs that doesn't have that. DMX has that.
Oh, easy.
Easy. CJ Kid with the super chat says, I think delivery matters more than opening lines. Anybody can say those lines, but can they deliver it in a way that the original artist did? Well, when you say it in the way that the original artist did, you kind of take on their flow. I mean, do you feel like Jay took on Biggie's flow on that Give It To Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Or in the crap tables down in AC. Yeah. No, I ain't, questioning Jay's bars. I would never do that. But I'm trying to think of some of the original opening liners that he has. Am I missing something? Standing on the corners bopping. To dropping some of the hottest. That's 007 with the $20 super chat showing love. He says, who is the next most anticipated hip hop drops? Is Hit Boy under pressure to perform without Nas?
You want to know what, Mike?
Ain't no nigga, I keep you fresher than the next chick. No need for you to ever shut the wax chick. With speed, I make the next check see the X, and indeed, you got to know you thoroughly respected. By me, you get the keys to the Lex, huh?
No,
But
no,
don't
no, no, no,
drive.
no. I would say allow me to reintroduce myself. I give him that
That's
one.
his best, but that's his best one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm from the streets where the
Hood
hoods
to
are
swallow.
swallow
Yeah.
them and bullets are
Some of his
follow
best
them, and
records.
there's so much coke that you could run a slalom. The
Yep.
cops comb your shit top to bottom.
They
They
say that
say
we are
we are
prone to
prone to
violence.
violence, but it's home sweet home. Yeah, he's got him.
Oh yeah.
He's got him.
He said it's
Even Mike,
hit.
hold on. How does Izzo start off?
I was thinking that too. Um, how does Izzo start off? Um,
Because I
was
remember
Herbert
like
up in the home of the turban? Yeah, he started it off with the hook. H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy. For shizzle, my nizzle used to dribble down in VA. Was Herbert up in the home of the turban? But see, that's how I know that that's something that he may have struggled with because he uses the hook. He'll use other people's, you know what I'm saying? It might not come as natural for him, but he works on it. 007 with the super chat says, who is the next most anticipated hip hop to drop? Is Hit Boy under pressure to perform without Nas? What do you expect from the fourth quarter? Is there an unheard region of the country that hasn't expressed themselves in hip hop? Who got next? Got a question. He said, I got questions. Spark. What do you anticipate in the I guess the final quarter of this hip hop season?
I mean, AZ's about to drop. I think
Oh yeah.
Drake's about to drop.
Yep.
We're getting Drake, getting AZ, Benny. I'm
Yep.
assuming we're getting.
I haven't heard much about the Benny. I don't think they've shelved anything.
He's got a
like
record
that.
with Wayne too.
Okay. I think we need to get a Wayne record.
I'll
Before
say
the
a
end of the
Wayne
year.
record or a J. Cole record would be nice.
I think J. Cole should pop up, man. He should really just drop without warning. He has the ability to do that when it comes to how large his fan base is, who he is in this culture. I just don't think that, especially after what Nas and Hit has just done, I'm just not of the mindset that somebody like a J. Cole or even Kendrick, I'll bring him in the conversation, could just sit there and rest on their laurels at this point. Like, I think that they got to be super active right now. And the fact that they're not, and J. Cole is when it comes to features, but as far as his own material, my only question would be why. I think this is the most wide open that the game has been since I can remember. Like, if you're an elite MC at this point, why not hammer down what you do in a wide open space like right now just to up your levels? Like, you could jump from number 15 to number 10 right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, putting out a couple of efforts. I'm just saying. This ain't the time to rest.
I agree. Maybe we have a different perspective, and you never know what's going on with people personally in their lives that kind of like keep them from doing stuff. Of course, because life happens.
Right.
But Mike, I agree with you. There should be it's open right now
This is
because
the
I told
time.
you, Mike. Well, how about this? Even if you don't think he's the best rapper right now, the fact that a 50-year-old rapper is a top 3 rapper right now. Like, let's say you feel
Crazy.
like Cole is better. First of all, you don't have any evidence.
It's hard. It's hard to really
Feel like Kendrick is better. Like
Yeah.
you can feel that way because those are your guys. You just don't have any evidence. So what these guys would need to do to submit their status is what he just did, is just go provide some evidence.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm saying about how he changed things. He just provided 6 albums worth of evidence in 3 years. So it's like, that's what I mean when I'm saying, well, there's some separation, because I don't think any of these other guys have it in them like that. Like the well of their pen, the ink in it doesn't run that deep for them to do a run like that.
2 albums in 2 months. How about that? Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, if we were able to get 2 albums in 2 months from J. Cole or Kendrick, you know how crazy, you know what I'm saying, their fan base would be right now, and how crazy a certain generation of hip-hop would be right now? Like, I just don't understand why that's not the mentality, especially when it's coming from, and I think all of us can agree, that one of our heroes, I'm pretty sure J. Cole and Kendrick, being the MCs they are, grew up listening to Nas to some capacity. And to see him doing what he's doing right now and know that you're in the prime of your career, from a, I don't even want to say from a competitive standpoint, but just from a love of hip hop standpoint, how are you not like, yo, man, I'm about to drop 2 albums in 6 months? Unless there's a situation where, you know, when it comes to the machine, someone's not letting you do this. I think this is a freedom thing.
Some of it is the freedom, but some of it is that this quote unquote competitive fervor that you think some of these guys have, it just might not be there. And we need to accept that too. Because here's what you have to accept about something too. It's like Nas is highly competitive.
Jay is too. That's why we always pair them up. And I think we're so used to their competitive level that we hold all of the other greats to that competitive level, and they just probably don't have it.
That's what I'm saying. But
to be perfectly honest.
So in order to produce like this, of this quality, it's like, well, you have to care and love it and want to still compete on a certain level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that kept Michael Jordan from retiring.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh no, it's like crack to him. It's like he can't do without it. It's like, you know, it's not functioning properly like if he don't.
That's why we used to love to watch, you know, Jordan and the Knicks, you know what I mean? I say the Bulls, you know, and the Knicks, that competitiveness that was going on. I respected John Starks. He didn't back down from Jordan. Obviously, he wasn't from a skill level anywhere near Jordan's level, but the competitiveness of it all, it was there because those guys were ready to compete, and we just don't see that in our MCs anymore.
Yeah, like Reggie Miller, Vernon Maxwell, these guys competed against Mike, like tough. Yeah, Joe Dumars, yeah.
Mad Max with the super chat. I think he's going to give me a fab line. Let's see. It says, I said F him, all mother F him. All y'all done turned the good guy and the Chucky doll, and I would have been y'all friend to the end. NB, but I guess there's no friends in this shit business.
This bullshit business.
Not sure what line that comes from off the top of my head, but
nobody knows, Mike. Nobody knows.
Thinking of a master plan. I don't know. CJ Kid with the super chat says, the one fab opener that is memorable to me is his verse on So Into You. But I know that's too happy for you guys. If anything,
it is, Mike.
That may be his one. I think his one might be the Lil Mo verse, Superwoman.
I don't remember how that comes in.
You know, he was on the J-Lo remix for Get Right. But you know what he used for his opening line on a hit record? And this proves my fucking point. He got on a record with J-Lo, a remix. He knew this song was going to be big. You know what he used? Slim with the tilted grim on 20-inch rims. That's what he used. So what I'm saying, guys, there's something to what I'm saying. People know how important these one-liners are when you're forced to make a hit. And sometimes people cheat and they take stuff from other guys who are superstars.
Mike, I came in the door. I said it before.
Yeah, how many times have we heard that?
Mike, I was a teen before I became a teen.
Yeah.
I milk microphones instead of cones of ice cream.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. That guy is the king. Even my melody.
Turn up the bass. Check out my melody. Light up the cigar. I'm letting knowledge be born. And my name's the R, a.k.a. I am. Yeah.
That's what superstars of hip-hop do. Rappers step up to me. They want to get some. But I'm the king, so, yo, you know the outcome.
Know the outcome.
Yeah. Another victory. How many times have you guys heard other people's interpolations of these things? It's because these guys are stars. What was the opening line of LL's Bad? I know you know.
No rapper can rap quite like I can. I take a muscle-bound man and put his face in the same.
Superstar.
Not the last mafioso, I'm an MC cop. Make it say go LL and do the WAP. Yeah.
Superstar shit.
No, you're right.
Yeah, that shit's important. I think we don't look at how important that is. And I think that's what separates the stars from the superstars.
It's crazy, Mike. You're right, because I don't even remember the last time I listened to I'm Bad, the song, but I know that intro very well, Mike, because it's L, and it's one of his best records.
Even when you look at Kim's a star. On No Time, Our Mama, Miss Ivana, usually rock the Prada, sometimes Gabbana, stick you for your cream and your riches. Or if you want to talk about Lauren on Lost Ones, it's funny how money changes situations. Miscommunication lead to complications. Like everybody doesn't have that. Like only certain elite motherfuckers got that. It is what it is.
It's fair.
And some people cheat to get it, by using lines that we know, but most people don't. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Mike, Jay said he was keeping Biggie on the charts. Is that what he said? Jay also said he'll sell water to a well. I'm a hustler, baby. I'll sell water to a well. So you can believe everything you want to believe, Leroy. Mall7 with the super chat says, Guru's opening line on Betrayal. Check out the horror scene. The kid was like 12 or 13. Never had the chance like the other kids to follow his dreams. Watched his father catch 2 in the dome. And then in the spleen, and 2 to the spleen. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, take for example Drake. He has opening lines, but more importantly, delivery. He can make a mundane phrase sound like it's the life or a motto or an anthem. Superstar. You're right. Drake has that. Tell me what's really going on. Even though a lot of people use that. But once again, that's somebody taking something that has worked because they know how important that opening line is. You know what I mean? 36 Chambers with a super chat says, I know y'all ain't fans like that, but A$AP Rock is releasing a new album in November, and the single so far is dope. It's going to be a great LP. What do you think about A$AP Rock? I know we don't talk about him a lot on this show.
It's a like, it's not a love.
Yeah. I respect it. I'm not, riding around listening to it, but I respect the lyricism and his abilities. Of course, I can never knock that. Reggie with the super chat says, guys post the A2HH top 50 rap opening lines list. I like that. Putting that in my notes right now. We gotta do that. Top 50 opening lines. It's important.
It's easy. It's full of Rakim and Scarface and Prodigy, though.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, and Raekwon too, probably. He said, I sent you guys a Magic 3 variant cover. Hope you guys liked it. Oh, yeah, it was a cover of, I think, Magic 3 and Moment of Truth. Mad Max with the super chat says, I have the evidence that ran bar for bar and the best MC in the game, and it ain't close. The powers that be was fire. Mad Max, please give me the Fabulous line. I mean, let's stop playing around. All the Fabulous's lyrics. Let's get the Fabulous line.
Stop ducking us, man.
Yeah. I mean, shit. Does Jadakiss have a line like that? We gonna make it? Fuck the frail shit? That's probably closest. 36
on that, Mike.
Yeah, 36 Chambers with the super chat says, J. Cole said, I gave you power is why he raps. So
That's why we all rap. They call ourselves lyricists. Next.
Gritty with the super chat says, I never brag, how real I keep it, because it's the best secret. I rock a vest, prestigious, Cuban link, flooded Jesus.
In the Lex, watching Kathy Lee and Regis. My actions are one with the seasons. The tech squeezing, executioner. Wintertime I rock a fur. Mega popular.
It was written as full of those opening lines, to be perfectly real with you.
All of them. It's sort of like the conclusion, the color purple. My mind set. Sun got wet. I'm vexed, really. Snatched up his Rolex. Snatched his bitch silly.
Gritty says that line that he just quoted shits on any Jay-Z opening line ever. Jay-Z's most impressive opening line to me is Still Dead Presidents 2. That's just me.
But that's on some rap shit. We don't stack cheddars.
Yeah, live treacherous forever, live treacherous already, etc. Stack cheddar forever, excuse me. Live treacherous all
to the death of us, me and my confidants, Sean, you feel the ambiance. Some niggas just rhyme. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man. I mean, imaginary player though. Huh. I don't know, 1,000,001's a good one too. It's like a lot of speculations on the monies I've made.
Streets is Watching is his best early one, Mike. If I shoot you, I'm brainless, but if you shoot me, you're famous. What's a nigga to do when the streets is watching? Blocks keep clocking, waiting for you to break, make your first mistake. That's his best one post Blueprint Black album.
You know what this tells us though about Jay? Similar to Outkast.
Volume 1?
No, I was gonna say his non-hit records are just much better than his hit records, and I think that's why even when he was asked about verses and things like that, that's why he always harps on his B-sides, because he knows in his heart his B-sides are more quality records than his hit records, and his hit records have a lot of help. They have a lot of borrowing of opening lines, a lot of guest appearances. But when we have Jay holding his own and doing his own thing and him being at his best, it's his non-hit records. That's why when I used to look at a Jay album and look on the back and see no features, or like the Blueprint with limited features, okay, that's the album I want to hear. I don't want to hear the album with everybody on it. Like, somebody made a good point when they were talking about Volume 2 sound like a Rough Riders album. It did. To a certain degree, it didn't sound like him.
Rough Riders was running the game.
Yeah, it's like at that time, in the late 90s, I wouldn't say the early 2000s, because by the time Kanye and Just, got Kanye's name in there again, but by the time Kanye and Just and Bink came along, they kind of found their own sound. But before that happened, a Jay album was pretty much all about whatever was going on at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Volume 1 got No Way Out vibes and
Life After Death.
Yeah, Life After Death vibes. And Volume 2 got Flesh of My Flesh and It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Rough Rider compilation vibes. Yeah.
Is it disrespectful to say Volume 1's a great value Life After Death?
Is a what?
Is a great value Life After Death.
Might be a little disrespectful to the greatness of the songs.
Okay. But it elevates what Life After Death is. Life After Death is pretty incredible.
It is, but that's what I'm saying. So here's how great he is on Volume 1. No, there are records on Volume 1 that are comparable to the Life After Death records. That's what
I guess
I'm saying.
As an album is what I'm saying. Like, obviously, isolated incidents or isolated situations, of course. Because, I mean, Jay's Jay, and that's him.
Like, how about this? It's like, I like Imaginary Player more than I like I Love the Dough.
Oh, yeah. That's not even a question.
Feel me? So it's like, no. He operating on there. Surgical.
But do you like Imaginary Player more than you like,
You're nobody till somebody kills
you. Right, you. Like, absolutely that's where I was going to go.
Not.
Like,
absolutely not. Big's records just feel bigger than Jay's records. That was Mike. My biggest thing with Jay, I mean, not to sidebar too far, it was always more about Big than ever it was about Nas, Mike. Mm-hmm. It was always about Big to me, because I'm like, well, Big's records are bigger and better. So, like, no.
Yeah, it sounded like Big had mastered where Jay was trying to go very early.
Yeah, like how about this? As much as I love Streets is Watching, and like lyrically it's better, it's like I'm still playing the 10 Crack Commandments before I'm playing Streets is Watching.
What about Kicking the Door? What's Beef?
That's what I'm saying. Those records are better, Mike. They're better. They're just better.
Jermaine Johnson with the Super Chat says, Mike, Havoc has one of them too. As a DJ, all you have to play is I Got You Stuck Off the Realness, and the crowd will finish the rest of the bar. That's Prodigy. 36 Chambers with the Super Chat says, I never brag. How real I keep it. Yeah, man. Those one-liners are so important, man.
I told you, Mike, I play Taking in Blood every day on my birthday when I get in my car, because it's like those first two lines. That's my mission statement.
It ain't hard to tell. I excel and prevail. Mike is contact, not clientele. Yeah.
I sip the Don P watching Gandhi till I'm charged and writing in my book of rhymes all the words past the margin.
Behold the mic throbbing, mechanical movement. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says, ran short for ransom, Mike. LOL.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about. What up, kid? I know shit is rough doing your bid. When the cops came, you should have slid to my crib.
Matthew with the Super Chat says, Fab goes off lyrically on. He said, you ain't got nothing. Fab and ALC
off the Carter
was crazy. Yeah. Fab and ALC was crazy. Easily his best verse. Y'all still ain't giving me no lines, though.
No. On the Carter 3 on You Ain't Got Nothing on Me, he was snapping.
Uh-huh.
Talking about you reach for this medallion, you must like Italian, nigga. You only see me pushing if the driver's tired. I rock the X6 ever since the 5 retired.
Jeez. Andrew Williams with the super chat says, "Fake thug, no love, you get the slug." Y'all are proving my point, and I love it. Web Visibility with the super chat says, "Don't forget about Chuck D." I was thinking about that too. I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened and read it. Said it was suckers. Yes, the rhythm, the rebel. Without a pause, I'm lowering my level. And then, hey, you didn't mention this one. 1989, the number, another summer. Down with the funky drummer. Jeez. Important stars, man. I think that's what we're really missing in hip hop right now, if we want to be perfectly honest.
Missing A&Rs and stars? Is that what missing A&Rs and stars?
Yeah.
It kind of goes hands in hand.
Well, the ability to give us a opening line as a star, you know? Right. Leroy Green with the super chat says, "The theme song to The Sopranos," that's a good one. "Plays in my key of life like on my mental piano. Got a great way of seeing life like I'm Stevie Wonder. Beads under the do-rag. Intuition is here, even when my vision's impaired." Yeah. But again, those ain't big records, though. I think if we're going to pick those records from Jay, they're coming from the quality album B-side, quote-unquote B-side records. CJ Kid with the super chat says, "I'm so into you, I want to be more than a friend of you now." I don't even want to read this, man. Pause. When they ask, I mention my baby girl in interviews now, and I don't bring the problems from the 90s into the 2000s. No, that's not on the level of what we're talking. I'm sorry. Try some more Fab lines, guys. I'd appreciate if y'all could step that one up a little bit, you know what I mean? We got Mad Max in the super chat. Maybe Mad Max got a Fab opening line. Let's go. It says, "Big records sound like that because Suge allegedly had them boys leave shells." Come on, man. We're not going to go there. And you made him some type of god and Puff brainwashing. We're not going to go there tonight, Mad Max. I appreciate your super chat, but you're talking really, really reckless. But yeah, what were we talking? That threw me off.
Well, that was the tangent, was just like the opening lines. But what did you want to go over before we wrap up here?
Well, I was going to say, man, do you really want to, do you think we can actually put together a Katy album? No, let's do this. We were talking about, are we overrating Magic 3?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people feel like, because this has been deemed a Nas channel by a lot of people who feel like we're going over the top about this run. But yeah, I just want to address, are we being prisoner of the moment for this whole 3-year, 6 album thing? Or is this something that is legit and always going to be cemented in hip hop history?
I think it's historical, personally, because I don't think anybody musically has performed this well this late.
Yeah.
Objectively speaking, if you wanted to say it's a class, the stuff that he's making is classic for his ilk and his era, I think you can make that fair critique, because it's not like how about this? My daughter may be able to appreciate like KD 3 and Magic 3, but I think a lot of that has to do with somebody like me being her father, quite frankly.
Right.
And so she is going to value Astro World more than she values Magic 3. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I understand that, but that's part of what makes hip hop beautiful. But I can't emphasize enough the degree of difficulty. Like that's the thing about it that's been so startling to me. It's like, no, Mike, he changed my perspective. It's like, I thought he was the greatest MC of all time before of all this, and I thought KD1 was a victory lap.
Yep.
I'm saying that as somebody that thought he was the greatest MC of all time before KD1, I thought it was a victory lap. And so saying that this isn't stellar, I don't think is fair. And I really hate to say it, but it's like, no, think about, Mike, forget this. Like, Imagine if Big and Pac went on a run like this while they were here. People would be going nuts.
I think 6 albums in 3 years is insane, period, right? And I think that all of us can agree that all of these albums, let's take it back to the Source magazine days. All of these albums are over 3.5. And I would say, I think we all could agree that 4 of these albums are over 4 mics. And this is just being generous, right? So let's think about that in a previous era, dropping 4 albums in a 2-3 year period that are all 4 mics and above. And then, let's add the caveat that the man's 50 years old. It's pretty insane.
I mean, I would tell you, like, Mike, it's like, if we're really, like, being difficult about it, and this is the thing that I say, it's like, well, KD3, the songs are so strong, and there's really not a weak song on there. And then you got to think about this as a 49-year-old literally doing a whole album by himself with no features. It sounds this good. It's like, no, Mike, like, not all 5's built the same. That's a 5. It's like,
he did that on KD3 as well at the age of 49, where it was like all of the songs were him. All 17 of them. 17 on there, right?
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like, no, that's not. You got to start looking at things in the context of, like, okay, so, like, my daughter and her boyfriend were arguing about, like, Future's breakthrough moment. And my daughter's like, it's Dirty Sprite. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's their era, and they're arguing about Future's best album the way we're arguing about the best run of this series. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But the beautiful thing about it that I'm trying to express to people and get people to understand, motherfuckers our age haven't been able to have this conversation until now, Mike.
You're right. We haven't been able to have this conversation in a minute.
Like, people are skipping over the fact that, no, we've never been able to have a conversation like the conversations we've been having about one of our rap legends this late in the game with the material that they're dropping. All respect due to KRS-One, we're not having those conversations about him or Rakim or G-Rap or Kane or Slick Rick or LL or Jay. You want to know why, Mike? Because none of them were this great this late, or Snoop. That's what I'm saying. So it's like the conversation, like, I hate to age it and to age him. But what's been so wonderful about this run is, like he said, for those who really want my position, you need to step inside a time machine and come back with a vengeance. He's not joking when he says that, Mike.
No, that's real.
That's
a
real.
quote that should have been in that Hip Hop DX review. They picked some weird quotes.
Like, he has literally jumped in. He is literally performing on the mic comparable to the 19 to 30-year-old version of himself. It's like, no, nobody does that. Stevie Wonder didn't do that. Prince didn't do that. Michael Jackson didn't do that. Marvin Gaye didn't do that.
And you know what? Shout out to Hit, man, because what Nas went out there and did was, he dispelled this whole notion of him being a bad beat picker. And then he went out there and got somebody of this era so that he wouldn't be pegged as the old guy trying to chase a 90s flow. And what I found interesting from that Hip Hop DX review that I read on the mic check yesterday was the fact that they were trying to pull him into making stuff that sounded like rehashes from the 90s, saying that that's what his audience wants to hear. Like, no, we're sitting here with his audience all day, every day. They want to hear fresh new music. If you want to go hear, as Jay said, you want to hear my old shit, buy my old albums. You know what I'm saying? And don't try to pull him back into a DJ Premier collaboration, respectfully. We've heard that. Now it's time to hear some new stuff. And they went ahead and did that, and they caught some momentum and kept going. And I don't think anybody really knows what to do with it but sit there and try to downplay it or try to find ways, as the guy said in the review, he said it's easy to poke holes into this collabo. Like, they're sitting here looking at ways to poke holes into what they're seeing because this is unprecedented. This is not something that your favorite MC has been able to do, will do. And so the only thing you can do is trying to find ways to, quote unquote, poke holes into it.
I mean, Mike, I look at it like this. It's like, If we're critiquing it, how about this? It's hard to critique something accurately when it's never occurred before.
Exactly.
And so
You can't compare it to anything.
So I think he is getting graded on a curve. And the curve is and this is the curve. It's like, well, this isn't Illmatic or it was written or Stillmatic. That's still the undertone. And it's like, it's not supposed to be, for one. But it's like, don't you understand the fact that he's making stuff comparable to it?
Exactly.
Is kind of what elevates it as well, because we haven't seen anybody, like we've never had an MC before where we can go look at their first 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of work and compare the last 6 pieces of work and being like, oh, there's a lot of comparable stuff going on. And so that does make the media and the critics' jobs difficult in a manner. But Mike, this is also a media and a critique of him also being slandered for a long time before all this happened. So, of course, I don't feel like it's being covered fairly or objectively, because it's hard to, because it's never been done. As in, so it's hard for all of us to critique it properly because it's never happened before. So it's like everybody's having a difficult job dealing with it. Not just like people who don't hold it as high as we do, but there's also just like the fact that it's like, no, the media does have a reputation of downplaying his shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so when people are pulling up on us, it's like, well, you're overreacting and rating this too high. It's like, well, you understand you've been trained and conditioned when it comes to this, man, to undervalue and to underthink it by the media too. You get what I'm saying? And so the truth might be somewhere in the middle. So it's like, let's say, Mike, how about this? Let's say you didn't think that 4 of these projects were 5s, okay? Right. He just made at least 4 projects that are 4.5s or better. And I think that might be the middle point where people really need to accept it. And it's like, well, Mike, he didn't make 4 albums in a row that were 4.5s when he went on his first legendary run.
Exactly. And, you know...
like 4 of his first 6 albums aren't 4.5, Mike.
And you said in hip-hop, man, but this is unprecedented, period. It's like us hearing a Stevie Wonder album in the 90s that we're able to compare to, you know, Talking Book.
Right.
You know, and that just doesn't happen. Or, you know, Michael Jackson making something in the 2000s that we could compare to Thriller or something.
That's like, how about this? No. That would be like if this is like if Invincible, like, you know what Magic is? Magic, imagine like if Invincible was like comparable to Off the Wall. That's what Magic was, you know, to people. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, no, am I saying it's Illmatic? Of course not. There's no The World Is Yours or Memory Lane or One Love on Magic. But the fact that it's a discussion, it's like, well, if you think that album's a 5, if you think Stillmatic's a 5, if you think It Was Written's a 5, if you think The Lost Tapes is a 5, and he's making stuff comparable to it, well, Mike, that's better than 4. And that's really kind of what I've been stressing about the run as a totality. It's like, oh, well, he hadn't made anything less than a 4, and this stuff has been closer to 5 than a 4 as a whole, in my opinion. If you want to say that, like, history is going to remember it more like 4.5, 4.75, I'm still going to tell you it's one of the best runs that a rapper's ever had. It's the best run an MC-producer combo has ever had, and 4 of his 10 best albums just got made from ages 47 to 50. We're never going to see that happen to anybody.
In a 3-year period.
In 3 years. We're never going to see that again, Mike. Like, ever. Like, we're not. Like, in music, we're not going to see that again, most likely.
Dot with the super chat says, Nas is the, the Nicolines could only be seen up on the, from up high.
Like the Nazca lines can only be seen from up high. That's how Slow It Down starts off.
Oh, yeah, I'm tripping. Let me see what we have some more super chats that we got to get to, because I know we got to wrap up in a second. Hold on, because I was holding on to that one. All right, we got Culture Bonds live with the super chat says Magic KD3, Magic 3, and KD2 classic. The others are 4s, and I think that that's fair. We got Leah M with the super chat says also Nas has been touring, putting on shows, making documentary appearances, features, etc., all while making these albums. Very impressive. CJ Kid with the super chat says, you guys got me dying at your reaction to the Fab opener like I knew you guys would. And you're not disappointed. You didn't disappoint. Those reactions are replay value. I mean, those bars are not. Gary Pierce with the super chat says, shaking my head. Cats don't love Nas, I said it. I love him. He isn't. He isn't one of the favorites. If Hove or K. Dot did this, weather reports would be interrupted to discuss it. I mean,
How
we
about
saw
this?
one verse got MSNBC coverage. It is what
How
it
about
is.
this, Mike? He's made as many dope albums in 3 years that Kendrick's made his whole career. Do you understand if Kendrick went on a run like this, they would call him the greatest of all time?
Oh, yeah.
Rolling Stone already, or Billboard with Vibe, who the hell ever that's lost and not woke in this thing already has him ahead of Nas. It's like Nas just had Kendrick's career in 3 years.
I mean, the fact that Billboard has put Kendrick above Tupac and Nas is so wild beyond comprehension. I mean, it's damn near disrespectful, man. Like,
Mike, ain't no Mike. There's not a damn near about it, Mike. Like
It's
for real. Like
disrespect.
I know. Like I talk and I speak in jest a lot. Like oftentimes when we're doing this, Mike. But it's like no, like it. Listen, what I'm saying. He just made 6 albums in 3 years. All those 6 albums are 4s and above. It's like that's Kendrick's career, Mike.
Where does Kendrick?
Except for this guy, made Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, Godson, Lost Tapes, Life Is Good, I Am, Distant Relatives. What?
Now listen, I'm gonna be objective here. Now, if you want to say Jay-Z or Tupac or even Biggie is better than Nas because of the hit records and how those things translated, and certain moments, how big they were in moments, fine, whatever. By what measure, though, can you sit there and say that Kendrick Lamar is better or ranked higher than Nas? Is it as a lyricist? Is it as a hit maker? Is it as a featured artist? Is it as albums? Like, by what metric are you putting this guy over this individual? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's illegitimate. Let's just keep it real. And that's no disrespect to Kendrick. I think Kendrick, if he was sitting here on this live and we were having this conversation, he could agree with that as a hip-hop head himself. There's no way by any metric at this point in his career that you could put him over somebody with a career like Nas.
Mike, I think I could fight you. Like, if you were to take Kendrick's catalog right now and I were just to take the Hit Boy portion of Nas's catalog, Mike, I'm okay with that. What does that tell you? Like, I'm okay with that. It's like, yeah, I'll take that fight because you wouldn't want to take the other fight.
There's not a versus matchup that Kendrick would beat Nas in. It's not. If we want to go 20 songs deep, it's not. And then,
I got 20 songs out of this run, Mike. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, no, I can pick out 20 songs from this run and it'll be enough to beat you.
now I don't know about that. Maybe.
I do.
Kendrick has a pretty great career. I'm not going to just sit there and say that, just straight up. I mean, I got money trees in the pocket, you know what I mean? Money trees is tough. You got Death Row. Web Visibility with the super chat says, it's really incredible what Nas is doing. 6 albums in 3 years, touring with the Wu-Tang, organizing 50 years of hip-hop concerts, the KD3 concert in Madison Square Garden. This brother has been everywhere. It's really insane. Yes, we have to applaud the work because you know what? A lot of our greats aren't doing a tenth of that right now. And they've earned the right not to. Let me be very real about that, and let me be real transparent about that. They don't have to do anything for the rest of their lives. They got all kind of impact. They've impacted our lives and the culture. But you know what? This man, Nasir Jones, could have sat down after Life Is Good, too, and been good. But he didn't. Charles Manning with the super chat says, the great thing about Nas' music is understanding that we will not stay young forever. Making 6 albums and having music for any generation makes it special. It really does. Dane with the super chat says, Coop hit the nail on the head when he said Pretty Young Girl is a Ghostface type record. It's like I can hear Ghost rapping. Mm-hmm. You know what? That's kind of like, I don't know if you like this record from Ghost, but Holla.
Yes, I do like it.
I love that record, and it kind of.
I was actually thinking this is more like Cam-A meets Wildflower from Iron Man.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Holla's my shit, man. He really just took that Delphonics record and just started rapping over it. Didn't flip it. Didn't put no beat to it. Nothing.
You know,
didn't
one of
take
my
the vocals out.
Joints, Mike, is Underwater from Fish Scale, where he's telling the story like using all the cartoon characters.
That nigga's
love Ghost, man. He's so ill.
Andrew Williams with the super chat says, this run will never happen ever again. Nas is the GOAT. I don't like to say ever, because looking at what LeBron James is doing right now, I would have to say that's probably never going to happen again either. But hopefully one day it will. But no time soon, definitely. Mad Max with the super chat says, "I'm not a Kendrick guy. None of these albums is comparable to Dot's material, other than Mid-Step. Stop it. This is where you start overrating the run."
Nah, most of these albums is better than Damn.
Okay, let's explore that. I'm glad you said that.
And as far as like going song for song, like I keep telling you, Mike, go ahead and pull them To Pimp a Butterfly records out.
I think KD3
like you rocking with them records.
I think KD3 and Magic, to me, and probably Magic 3, are better than Damn.
Yeah.
The conversation becomes KD2. Do you think KD2 is better than Damn? I'm gonna have to put that in the chat.
I think that's where the conversation lies, except for here's the thing. We know that Damn is Kendrick's second or third best piece of work. KD2 has been identified as the fourth best piece of work in this run. It's like, so you're so sure? That's what I'm saying. How about this? If we're ranking the albums, for me, it would probably go Good Kid, Mad City. And then we could go to Pimp a Butterfly. But I would tell you that Magic 3, KD3, I'm going to play those more than To Pimp a Butterfly. But even if you wanted to give him the first and the second, well, I'll tell you the next four are the Nas and Hit projects.
Well, people are voting for KD2, looks like. Culture Minds Live at the Super Chat says, if Jay had this run, they would build another museum.
Aren't they building one right now anyway, just because?
You guys at this museum. I want to go see the Book of Hov Museum. I know Nick Love said he went and saw it, thought it was incredible. I want to go see it.
I don't like.
Can they get one in Atlanta?
I don't like calling it the Book of Hov. It's very blasphemous.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I'm just calling it what it's called, but I feel you.
I hear you.
Raka Shava, the super chat says, the Nas hate is real. Magic 3 was an afterthought after the end of Rap Life Review. The dude almost closed the show forgetting about Magic 3 album. You know, I did see some hate on the Joe Budden podcast, too. Somebody actually tagged us in that. Did you see that clip?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the dude's name on the show. Excuse me. There's no disrespect. I just, I don't really watch the full podcast like that. I just kind of catch clips. But, yeah, he sounded angry about the fact that people thought Magic 3 was dope. And I'm like, yeah, where is this coming from? Like,
when dudes start talking like that, I just be like, man, did he sleep with your girl or something?
Yeah,
like, is everything okay?
It's never like that. Like, you and I'm not a huge Logic fan, right? And I'll never knock Logic's skill level and all of that. But when Logic puts together an album that I can fuck with, I'm like, you know what? That's dope. It's never anything personal here,
Mike,
man.
it's kind of our job to do that. Like, remember when Paul Wall and Terminology did that record? And I was like, Mike, I really love this record. I was like, I'm really enjoying this Paul Wall Terminology. Not big fans of either, but they made something dope.
I like
that's
Terminology.
Really what we're here to do.
I like Paul Wall too. I think it was an interesting mix, but I feel what you're saying. It's not really in your wheelhouse of the things that you normally go to, but you fuck with it. But yeah, when it comes off on some personal shit where it's like, you're getting angry, and then you want to say that it's trash. Now, I think that even if Magic 3 is not your thing, you can't say it's trash, though. I think that's inaccurate, I don't know if that's people just trying to get moments or whatever, but Mad Max of the Super Chat says, put Dot's catalog versus Nas and Hit would get badly embarrassed, Coop, out here lying. Yo, well, with that being said, Mad Max, it looks like the people have picked KD2 over Damn. Now, do you want to put KD3 up against To Pimp a Butterfly? Because we can do that, too. Let's do that while we're in here. I know we don't have a lot of time. Let's see, what's the better album? Let's see. To Pimp, I'll put it in that way. Or KD3. Which one do you think? You think that KD3 is better than To Pimp a Butterfly? Both of those albums we have said are, some of the better albums of its era.
There's not a how much a dollar costs on To Pimp on KD3.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a record as big as All Right on KD3. So if you wanted to give To Pimp a Butterfly the advantage, I'm okay with that. But there's not big separation.
What about lyrical
And the
performance?
songs on KD3 are gonna live longer and have more replay value outside of All Right.
Mad Max with the super chat says Nas is my guy, but there's objectivity in standing, standing. You come on. What did he say? Standing. Come on now. Comparable to Dot's career. You think that stuff like Store Run is and DNA? I'm sorry, Store Run is better than DNA or Duckworth? Mad Max be leaving out words. He said, "You think Store Run's better than DNA or Duckworth?"
I think based on True Events Part 2 is comparable to Duckworth.
I think so too. I actually think it's better than Duckworth, in my opinion.
It's more enjoyable from a writing perspective.
I don't
See,
listen
that's what I
to
mean about how I
Duckworth,
like
bro.
the difficulty. How about this? I like the fact that Kendrick held that story that long, because I think that might be his best story outside of How Much a Dollar Cost, and he held it that long, and so I think that's impressive. But there's also a 50-year-old telling stories like this. You get what I'm saying about that whole, well, this guy's 50. He's been rapping since he was like 16 on a major level, 19 as an album artist. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so if it's comparable, I'm giving the advantage to the degree of difficulty, which is the elder.
Dot with the super chat says, Kendrick is so boring, man. I swear, people overhype him. You think Duckworth is one of his best stories?
Yeah, next to How Much a Dollar Cost, yes.
I'm with How Much a Dollar Cost. Duckworth, to me, feels like one of those meet the parents moments. Like you're trying too hard.
I feel you. How about this, Mike? What do you like more? Like, what do you think's the better song, 30 or Loyalty?
I think Loyalty.
Okay.
I like Loyalty a lot.
You like Loyalty more than you like Reminisce?
I do, and I like both of them a lot. Both of them a lot. I think Loyalty and Love are actually two of my favorite songs on Damn.
I think they might be the two of the four best songs on Damn.
Yeah. I think he really nailed it with those. Paul.
What do you think, Love or Nobody?
I have to say Nobody.
See, so this is what I'm saying. We're comparing Kendrick's best stuff to the Nas and Hit Boy run.
Now, you know what? I know
how this guy ahead of Nas, because it's like, that's what I'm saying. This is like, no, we don't even got to bring up Illmatic. It was written, Stillmatic, Lost Tapes records for him to like beat guys who are like iconic and titans to other people.
I know we have a few verses on the tabs or whatnot, or at least song for song matchups. I don't even want to call them verses or whatever. I know we got a few station heads that we got to catch up with, but I do think it would be very entertaining if I took Kendrick's catalog and you took just this era of Nas. Do you think it would be fair to just do Life is Good on?
I was about to say, Mike, get out my head, because here's the thing. If you pull in Kendrick's whole catalog, I deserve to have Life is Good and Nasir at my disposal.
Because you can start where he started, basically.
Right. Because Good Kid, Mad City and Life is Good came out the same year. Those were the two best rap albums that year, in my opinion.
So I could take on Kendrick's catalog, right? We promise we're going to do this, guys. And I'm sorry for our schedules being all over the place. We're going to get these done. But I think that would be very entertaining.
Mike, I want to knock the Jay Kanye thing to the back, because I just want to tap dance on Kendrick's catalog right quick. And you let me have some Life is Good stuff too, Mike?
Yeah.
That means I get to play Stay?
Yeah. You get Life is Good. I'm sorry, Life is Good on. And I get
finger, Mike.
Can I use Section 80? Can I use Section 80?
Mike, you're going to need to use Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene, the 12 disciples.
I already know what I'm going to start off with.
Jacob and his 12 sons. You're going to need the stones that David killed Goliath with, and the sling.
This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun.
You're going to need the Hebrew and Aramaic versions of the prayer modules of the first 5 biblical texts. Like, you're going to need a lot, Mike.
This is going to show a lot. This is going to show a lot. The only thing
that's going to save you.
This is going to show a lot, because, again, Billboard has Kendrick over Nas, and if this is even comparable by just taking a portion of Nas's career, there's no way this could even be validated. Leah M with the super chat says, I think Nas slept with Ish's girl, Coop. Something happened, man, because that anger that he had when niggas was saying the Magic 3 was a quality album was weird.
The energy was off about it.
Yeah, I've never, when we talk about albums here, I don't think I've ever reacted like that to, somebody saying an album's good.
We just be like, it ain't good. We just be like, it ain't that good.
It's like, oh, it's trash.
Like this guy was like, you always overrate Nas's projects, Coop. I was like, I was just on air talking about how Untitled was no good, and I actually gave a brief breakdown and synopsis of why it wasn't good, literally 2 days ago.
Web
like,
visibility.
Yeah, it ain't good, it ain't good. It's like, yeah, Untitled good, Coop. It's like, no, it's not, and here's why it's not good. Ding, 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 ding.
Well, it also feels like, unfortunately, and I don't know how this culture has been created, but I think some people feel like if they trash Nas, they're going to get points from somebody else. And they're trying to go to a brunch or something. Like, it shouldn't even be that. Like, I mean, how good is the alcohol and the chicken at the brunch, man? Like, let me know, Leroy. I'm trying to get there.
Who's making the chicken?
What's the seasoning like?
What winery are they getting the champagne from in France? I'm just asking questions.
Is this Prince making pancakes or something? Like,
I was about to say, do they have some of my favorite stuff? Like, can I get like a 07 Charlton off the pop from these guys? Like, what I mean? What are they drinking in there?
I think it's like the Golden Gates and everything just opens up, and whatever you want in this world, it's
like,
there.
Are they drinking Alexander Valley Silver Oak, Mike? Because I only drink Napa Valley Silver Oak. You see what I'm saying?
I'm sure they got them both, Coop.
I'm uppity as well.
They got everything. Web visibility with the super chat says, I think the media Nas hate is very similar to the hate Skip Bayless has for LeBron. I think going after a legend is good for publicity.
Mike, are they supporting black wineries like the only black winery in Napa, the House of Brown, the Brown family, the only black family in Napa Valley? Are they supporting the only black family at this brunch?
I would hope so.
Their wine. Okay, I'm just asking questions.
DFW Herbie with the super chat says, all right. All Right was originally Fab's record.
I think we're all better off for Kendrick having got it.
I was going to say, I hate when people say stuff like that. And no knock to you, DFW. And that's probably a true fact. But it's like, would All Right even be all right if, no pun intended, if Fab had it? That's a test I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to come up with this concept where you give two MCs, I guess, at the same caliber, the same beat, and see what they do with it.
I mean, Outkast and Jadakiss and Styles P.
Yep.
Home Sweet Home versus We Gon' Make It.
Mm-hmm. And you can see it. It's a whole different song. Same beat.
A whole nother vibe with Kiss and Styles. Yeah.
Mad Max in the super chat says, the chat loves Nas. These polls don't prove anything. They'll tell you Dr. Knockboot was better than One by Ghost.
No, that's just wrong.
I don't think they would say
that's disrespectful.
I would hope they wouldn't say that.
Nobody thinks that.
But
we try not to acknowledge that Dr. Knockboot even got made, Mike. I don't ever talk about that record. You notice how I like conveniently slide that out the catalog? It's like, we're going to walk that song off a cliff and let it die.
I Am has a lot of misses, and I'm going to be perfectly honest. Even though I Am has Nas Is Like and New York State of Mind Part 2, Undying Love's dope too. All of the albums in this series are better than I Am. Yes.
That's just all of these albums, Mike, all of these albums are better than I Am and Nostradamus.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
I think all of these albums are better than Untitled, too. And I know some people in the room will probably fight me on that, but,
Mike, unequivocally, Mike.
They're all better than Nas.
And all these albums are better than Street Disciple, too.
Oh, yeah. They are.
Yeah, they are. All of them.
I think 4 of them are better than Godson. And Life is Good. And these are very good albums. Life is Good's a very good album. KD2 is better than Life is Good.
I agree.
Andrew Williams with the super chat says, Nas had Kendrick's career in 3 years. It's okay, Mad Max. Get some therapy. The 6 albums can definitely stand next to K-Dot's albums and probably beat it. Well, we about to test it out. Because I think this is very interesting.
You let me use Life is Good?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's only fair because, like you said, Life is Good and Good Kid, Mad City came out the same year.
Mike, I'm putting this at the top of my list. I'm sorry.
Okay. Gotta just and listen, I love Kendrick's catalog, so I'm not going to cheap shot Kendrick or anything, nigga. I'm bringing the heat. I'm bringing his best shit.
That's what you're going to need to do.
Mm-hmm. Mad Max with the super chat says, if Nas was to tell Swiss, I want to see Dot in verses, and he plays just the hit stuff I'm sorry, with the hit stuff with 100 million people watching, I don't know. It's like look like Einstein. Um, are you going to be able to use? Speaking of Swiss, are you going to be able to use Echo? I think you should.
You said everything, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I can use like Echo,
Yeah.
Nas album done. Yeah.
Okay.
I can use them.
Echo's pretty strong. Mall7 with the super chat says, Ish is a Jay-Z stan. I'm not surprised by the hate. And see, I don't know where that came in either. Like, why can't you just be a Jay-Z fan that's a Nas fan too? Because both of them make great hip-hop. Because I'm a Jay-Z fan too. Yeah. I don't know if it's a level of loyalty where it's like, you know what, I'm such a Jay-Z fan because they had it back and forth. I'm never going to listen to Nas' stuff. I don't know.
That's just weird.
That is weird. DFW Herbie with the super chat says, say what you want. Dot don't have a soul tape 1 through 3. Mad Max with the super chat says, it's like, don't do that, Mike, because I'm a soul tape 3 when Fab went at Dot, and Dot was scared to rap back. Well, Dot is not battle tested.
The way Mad Max takes up for Fab, Mike, is the way that you take up for Ghostface and Kanye.
I mean, I've been pretty clear in my bias when it comes to Ghost.
Extremely biased. And this is coming from me. It's like, I'm biased towards Ray, but it's like your Ghost bias. I think your Ghost bias is harder to get through than my Ray bias.
I'm totally blind when it comes to Ghost, man. Ghost is something.
You are. It's like, no, I acknowledge that Raekwon made a mobilarity and he and that it's not okay.
Superhero rap. Culture Minds Live with the super chat says, they trying to party with Jay like Fab did with Puff. I mean, that's what it feels like. Like I said, when somebody gets that angry, it's like, are you trying to get points somewhere else? And from what I know, and I don't know too much, Jay and Nas are cool. Like, you don't get no points for shitting on Nas for no reason. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Mad Max with the super chat says, I Am is better than most of the Nas hit stuff, even with Dr. Knockboot. Hit don't have Nas's like, or New York State of Mind Part 2, or Favor for Favor. You're talking about isolated songs, not the full project.
First of all, there are some records that are better than Favor for a Favor.
Yo, like, Coop's about to school everybody on this run. And if we put it up against Kendrick's shit, I mean, I can't wait for this. This is going to be great.
Very, very few rap records, Mike, in the history of rap are better than Nas's. Like, I hate when people, like, throw certain songs out, like the song is regular or something. Nas's like is not a regular rap song, Mike. You know what I'm saying? So if this is what I mean when the expectations get to, like, be, like, a little bit misstated or misunderstood or just, like unrealistic, it's like, he not making Nas's like again.
Well, Rosenberg and Cypher
doesn't mean that this isn't better than I Am, because it is. Because these records don't have no "You Won't See Me Tonight" or "I Want to Talk To" or what? How the record with DMX, "The Life Is What You Make It." It was not slapping like that, Mike. I was very disappointed in Nas and DMX. Notice I always bring up the record with Case, but I never bring up the record with DMX.
What's the record where he was rapping fast on I Am?
Big Things.
I hate that record.
It's awful, Mike.
I hate Big Things. I think I never want to grow up. No.
The KISSING?
Yeah. Mall7 with the super chat says, Nas had some insane bar work on Life Is Good that went way over people's heads. Yes, you're going to be able to use Life Is Good. This is going to be very entertaining.
Locomotive. Nas.
Mad Max with the super chat says, yeah, I'm Fab biased. So what? Hold on. It went away. So yeah, I'm Fab biased. So what? He's not a GOAT. Let me shed light on my guy.
No, Mike, there's nothing wrong with shedding light on your guy, but know where your guy stands. Anybody's been watching the show, it's like, I'm a big Jeezy fan, Mike. You ever hear me bring up Jeezy when we having these top 10, top 20 MC conversations?
No.
Because he doesn't belong there.
007 with the super chat says, Mad Max, I F with you, but respectfully, chill. All I asked for, man, was some Fab opening lines that matched the opening lines I was talking about earlier in the show. I think that's what lets you know who is at elite status. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is. Like, Ghostface's opening lines on Shay Shayla Ghost. those are, and even Busta Rhymes, man, hit you with another lane. So what you saying, yo?
Ghost opening lines on one. We at the weed gate waiting for Jake. We want 8 ravioli bags.
2 thirsty villains yelling belly aches. Heavyweight rhyme writers. Man, what? Or like on Mighty Healthy. Both hands crusty. Chilling with my man Rusty. Low down. Flew off the burner kind of dusty. How did Old Dirty start off Brooklyn Zoo? Old Dirty's the best, man. When it comes to the opening lines, and then shame on a nigga who tried to run game on a nigga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Zoo is a problem. And I agree with you. That's one of the best solo performances from anybody out of the Wu. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I still think it's the best solo mic performance.
Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yay, shimmy, yay. Give me that mic, so I'm going to take it away.
I say, Mike, he's got 2 of the best 10 solo mic performances in the Wu, because he's got Brooklyn Zoo and he's got Shimmy Shimmy Y'all. Those are 2 of the 10 best solo records that ever came out of that camp. As far as one MC on the record. Yeah.
Mad Max in the Super Chat says, Coop, on Monday, you said that he was Stillmatic level lyrically. So you trying to put it there with that?
I said that I don't think any of these projects is going to surpass It Was Written Illmatic and Stillmatic. But I did say that Magic 3 and KD 3 have the opportunity to maybe pass the Lost Tapes over time.
Mad Max also says, I never put Fab in the top 20. But you got to ask yourself why.
Stop talking about these damn soul tapes and give us some opening lines, Dan.
We just want the opening lines. You know what I'm saying? The most memorable opening lines.
Or we want you to just stand down and be like, hey, you want to know what? You're right. He don't got opening lines like that, because it be like that.
Before we get out of here, man, Drake should be dropping his new album. I think that's going to be in the first week of October.
Yeah, it's the 6th.
Are you expecting a hip-hop album, or, you expecting an album where he's going to kind of, I guess, enforce the fact that he is the guy of this era? Because clearly, speaking of Kendrick being number 2, I think that he kind of has a bug in his ass about the fact that Kendrick has been ranked over him as well.
You want to know what, Mike? I've realized something about Drake. I like Petty Drake.
He's the competitor in this era. We talk about competitiveness is not
Drake,
there.
And as long as Petty Drake shows up, I think things are going to be okay. I think Loverboy Drake is cool, and that's what's going to move the streams and the units. Yeah. But Petty Drake is where it's at, Mike. And I'm hoping for a very, very petty man on October 6th.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, he has a problem with Kendrick being number 2 as well. I also feel like Eminem has a problem with Kendrick being number 2, but I don't know if there's anything he can do about it. I think I said on the mic check yesterday, for the people who feel like I have unfair critiques about Eminem and his, I guess, his placement overall and his career musically, I would love for Eminem to be able to prove me wrong. We just saw Nas go out there and make 6 quality albums in 3 years. If Eminem is the guy that you guys say that he is, then it shouldn't be too hard for him to put together a quality album, because he hadn't, really put together anything that was critically acclaimed in over 20 years. So,
Mike, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Do you think Eminem has made 6 albums of this quality in his career?
No.
Then you're officially doing unfair ask.
Well, I mean, listen, I know what I believe, but I'm saying for the people who believe that Mike is tripping and Mike D is hating, if it's like that, he should be able to put together a quality album to make me say, you know what, this shit is hard. You know what I mean? Like, is that too hard to ask for somebody who's supposed to be top 10 all time? One of the 10 best people, quote unquote, to ever do this hip hop thing. Is it too much for me to ask to get even a Only Built for Cuban Links Part 2 level album from this guy?
What, at this stage or just period?
Period, or at this stage even. Like, is that too much to ask?
I mean, I think we say that, if it's asking too much of J, then it's asking too much of M. This is part of what's making Nas part of the run so special, is that asking these guys to do this at this age, yes, Mike, it is unfair. That's part of why Nas doing it is so special, because it's an unfair ask.
I think Jay can give us a quality album at this era. I believe that. I don't know if it will happen. You don't
have any proof of that.
You're right. I don't have any proof, but I believe it. I think I believe it based on American Gangster and stuff like that, even though that's ancient now.
That's ancient. Mike, I'm going to tell you something that I've learned from you sincerely before we go.
Sure.
you've really taught me in the course of doing this show that no, time is really what's going to tell.
Mm-hmm.
When I started this show and you started making these Andre comments, you really pissed me off. And then yeah, you did. You pissed me off. And then I realized it's like, oh, Mike is right. It's like I'm thinking like the 25-year-old that's still waiting for them to drop another album. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the reality of the matter is that, well, at least at the time when we started having this conversation, well, the reality of the matter is that I'm 39 going on 40. And these dudes ain't made nothing since my early 20s, as in like 20.
Right.
19. And time has showed us that it's like, no, it's not happening.
I told you about the Kendrick break, too.
That's where I was going next, too, Mike, with the Kendrick break. I was like, nah, I'm like, this is K-Dot. He's going to come through. And you were like, Coop, he don't got it. It's been too long. And then the album came out, and I was like, damn it, Mike D was right. It's like, it's been too long. He's out of touch. This album is no good. See, people think I'm the one that was saying that it was no good. You were the one that was saying it was no good. I just highlighted how good that it wasn't, because I was the one that ended up being disappointed, not you. And so to the same thing with Jay, it's like, no, I don't believe that, Mike, but I don't believe that based on the things that you've shown me. Because if all you got is a God mid-verse and 444 in the last decade to really show like what your metal is, it's like, no, I don't think there's a good project around. And I learned it from doing According to Hip Hop with you. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. This is signing off, dropping mics.
No, you know what? I would be honest with you. And I've said this on this show.
No.
I've said this on this show. The fact that we haven't gotten a Jay album that sounds like a Jay level album in 14 years, makes me feel like, maybe it is over. But if there's one person to not count out in this game, it's that guy. Now,
no, Mike.
Now I'll tell you,
Kanye made nothing good since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. He in the same boat. It's like, no, I don't think he can make a good album because I haven't. Have you seen it?
Well, now I do believe in Kanye more than I do Jay. Now, if we're talking about between the two, who's going to be able to make you a great album first right now at this stage, I'll put my money on Kanye over Jay.
I still don't see it. I don't see it for either one of them, Mike, because we haven't seen it. You can't. It's like when I take my glasses off, Mike, we can't see shit.
Yeah, he got flashes though. You'll have the moment like where he used that Donny Hathaway sample or something, and it's like, okay, it's there. And Jay will have flashes too. And I think the thing that makes me feel like Jay could do it, because I know with the right help, Jay could do it. And Jay, if he says that he's going to do something, he'll get all the help in the world.
First of all, this is what I'm saying though, Mike. When you're at the age and stage that they are in the game, you usually flash more than you actually fulfill your promise.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about they flash, it's like, yeah, I know. And
Leroy Green with the super chat says, Mike, these niggas can't share the air. Come on, guys. That's not even the opening line of the song. These niggas can't share my air or walk around in the pair I wear, and I'm getting better year by year. Like they say Juan do. That's not the opening line, guys.
Yeah, it's just struggling.
It's not.
Okay, it's time to go.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here.
Super chat so we can get out of here.
Let me get the last couple of super chats. We'll get out of here. We're going to see y'all next week. Dot with the super chat says, Drake will disappoint. Well, there we go.
How about this? It'll be better than Kendrick's last album.
Ooh. Kendrick needs to drop another album to shut us
right. Up. Drake's album about to be better than Kendrick's last album, so what?
Mad Max in the super chat says, The Life of Pablo was great. Stop it, Coop. I like The Life of Pablo, too. But I'm biased, clearly.
Like it in relationship to what? Not his other stuff.
Yeah, that's your thing. You're comparing him to him. And if
we don't even got to go no further than his catalog. It's like, oh, really? It's like, well, how can you like that when you've heard his other stuff?
That's fair.
That's why I be looking at the Untitled album. It's like, no, I've heard the Lost Tapes. You can keep this.
Well, hit like and subscribe, everybody. Appreciate y'all joining us. We got to plug the shirt and stuff too, man. You know, the A2HH Live, the official A2HH Live shirt is available now. It's in the community section. Got the link. We'll go ahead and get that out to you. Shout out to the people who went ahead and already purchased the A2HH Live shirt. Hit us in our Cash App to support as well. According to $, $, according to number 2 hip hop. And you know what I'm saying? Me and Cooper appreciate you. Jermaine Johnson with a super chat before we go. He says, who should direct/produce, narrate a documentary based around this Nas and Hit Boy run? I say Spike and Fab Five Freddy. This needs to be documented properly. I would say Mass Appeal.
I'm about to say Michael probably tell you Kanye needs to do it, but
I was gonna say Mass Appeal. I'm gonna leave Kanye out of this one.
First time for everything. LP got one more super chat we can slide.
Oh, okay, yeah. LP, he says, while I'm watching these dudes watching me closely, my game is butter for the bread they want to toast me. Love it, man. Now, that's a great one. Yeah.
It's a great one.
Can I Live is insane.
Friend of foe, yo, state your biz.
What about politics as usual?
You can catch me skating through your town, putting it down, y'all relating. No waiting, I'll make your block hit for red hot. I'm like Satan. Yeah.
Woo! No, I believe in Jay. I believe in Jay more than I do many of the people that will make a comeback right now. I think 444 suffers from the production choice.
Okay. All right.
Somebody said Tyler Perry can do it. Oh, Leroy, you bugging. We out of here.
What's Kanye's excuse, Mike? What's Kanye's excuse? Because Kanye's excuse is not production. He's the producer.
Kanye's excuse
for slavery
is Kanye is into fashion. That's his number one right now.
Kanye is into putting the engineer through slavery. I don't want to hear about
hold on. Speaking of, you don't like the song Jail? Jail is fire.
Jail's dope.
Yeah, Praise God is dope.
So making two great songs out
the
of like 30
record with Jay Electronica is dope. I'm sorry, Donda's way better than 444. I'm sorry, in my opinion, it is.
That's not saying a lot.
But I'm saying what it's saying is who I believe in more for the next song.
Do I believe in Kanye more than Jay as far as making a great album? It's like, well, yeah. That ain't saying much, though, because ain't neither one of them made nothing good in the past decade, really. So,
well, we need some unreleased Outkast stuff because I don't believe we're going to get anything new from that group, ever.
Well, they ain't made nothing in 2 decades, Mike.
Yeah, so all we need is the old stuff. 007 with the super chat says, freedom of jail clips inserted. A baby's being born same time a man is murdered at the beginning and end. Fab doesn't even have one of those, man.
Stop that. That's one of the best rap start-offs ever.
As far as rap goes, it's only natural to explain my plateau and also what defines my name.
First it was nasty, but times have changed. Ask me now, I'm an artist, but hardcore. My signs for pain.
I spent time in the game. Yeah. When people talk about him in Premier, man, that is the go-to, I think. Always New York State of Mind is a talking point, but when you think of both of those guys at their zenith, and their beat selection, and beat production rather, and their lyrical skill, I think Nas is the time where they collided and reached their highest potential, if you will.
I mean, I think the most glowing thing you can say about Nas is that it sounds like it belongs on Illmatic.
Yeah. Well, there it is. And on that note, we out of here. We're going to do a station head where Kendrick's going to have to go against Nas's third career. And I'm interested to see how he's going to fare.
Listen to what you're saying.
All right, we out of here, man. Appreciate you guys.